Good afternoon. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice or watching me on any social media platform via YouTube or Facebook, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and I am your host on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 1 to 4 p.m. It has been an interesting time. Michael, something is going on here. My headphones work as long as I'm not on the Zoom with you guys, so I'm not sure what that is. Thank God for Troy, who helped me. I could hear my sound, and then WURD radio came on and my sound knocked out, so I'm not sure what that is. When we go to break, I will put in another set of headphones because Mother rolls like that. I always have a ram in the bush so that I'm not always stuck trying to figure out what to do. There's a couple of things going on that I want to talk to you about today. This weekend has been incredibly interesting, to say the least. I'm trying to get this light out of my eyeballs. Okay. So this weekend on Saturday, Susan L. Taylor from the National Cares Mentoring Movement had an incredible platform that was 4.5 hours long about healing what's hurting us, tackling racism in America. And the very first speaker was Dr. Karenga, the man who created Kwanzaa, and the words of wisdom he gave made me want to come back here and talk to you, especially in light of the fact that the Derek Chauvin trial is they're having their closing arguments today, and the Philadelphia police are ramping up 1,000 troops are coming in to make sure that we stay in a steady place. There's still brutal violence happening all around the country. And so I wanted to speak a little truth to all of you based on what Dr. Karenga says. He says, "We are in dangerous, difficult, and demanding times. The consistent pathology of racist oppression is there, and we need a new rhythm of life if we're going to survive." He said racism has now turned hatred and hostility into public practice all around the country. And it's a domination here. He says, we suffer in greater degree and die in greater numbers, but we are our own liberators. Those who must be free must strike the first, consistent, and final blows. Struggle is a defining feature of what it means to be human, but we must have a value system by which we ground ourselves. Life, work, and struggle. We must have a solid self-understanding of who we are. So we're, all over the place because, this one likes me over here and that one likes me over here. You've got to have a keen sense of self. Learn to speak up for yourself without apology, right? He talks about us liberating ourselves, and he's absolutely right. He says every relationship we have as Black people carries a responsibility. We need to have a moral sensitivity to each other, something I talk about here all the time, that even though I may not agree with what the WURD listeners may call in and say, everybody deserves a modicum of decency and respect. If you take the time to call, I'm taking the time to listen to you. If you want to hear me to look up something, I'm going to look it up for you. That's why I'm here. I'm not here to help hear myself talk. I am here to be a liberator for my people, right? And anyone who is listening beyond that. He says we must learn to define, not to let our oppressors be our teachers. We must define our own reality and let other people accept it as it is, not try to fit into where they are. We must create for ourselves, speak for ourselves, respect, speak, and live the truth of our own unique voice. Can't free ourselves until we be ourselves, and we can't be ourselves until we free ourselves, right? He says, be attentive to the quality of our relationships. We must heal ourselves and sustain ourselves. And he was good. And then Dr. Janice Johnson Dias came on to talk about, healing, how our thoughts and our influence our thoughts and our behaviors, right? So I got to interview her. I did not realize that Dr. Johnson Dias, who is Marley Dias' mom, is actually a Jamaican. And so that was a great interview. And then, we had people like Charles M. Blow. I mean, the speaker list was off the chain. And all of it spoke of our healing, who we are as a people, what we want to do, how we're going to move forward. I started this way because so much is happening and swirling around us, right? I had to get off the call because we were doing memorial for Leah Dawes, which was beautiful, by the way. Thank you to everyone who showed up, participated. Thank you to the Upper Darby School District who provided the chairs 6 feet apart. Thank you to Pico Energy for making sure that we had the balloons and the cupcakes. Thank you to the folks from Pico who showed up, to the folks from Upper Darby who showed up, to just the general folks who came to make sure that we said goodbye to Leah in a great memorial. Let me also say this to you. Leah was the epitome of what Dr. Karenga spoke of, right? The principles of Kwanzaa is something she lived, and I don't know if it was something that she did with intention around Kwanzaa, but it was just the way that she was. She was giving away computers and taking people to and from work and taking people to their chemotherapy treatment without letting anybody else know. She didn't do it so she could gain favor or for anyone to hear what she, to know what she was doing. And so I love that about her. And I want us to be considerate and think about what is going on as we move forward, right? So that was the first thing that I wanted to talk to you about. So much is going on. So much is going on. One more thing that Dr. Karenga said that struck me like a bolt of lightning. The wise are known by their wisdom, but the great are known by their good deeds. I'm going to say this again. The wise are known by their wisdom, but great people, people who leave a legacy, are known by their good deeds. He says we do damage to our work when we do damage to each other. And so he said, as a people, we've learned how to ride the storm and stay intact. We must know our past and honor to engage our present and improve it. Our thoughts are shaped by our worldview. And so this is why I say all the time, take your time, pay attention to what's going on around you, know what is happening around you. So I usually show up to my radio show dressed to the nines. Today I am in a sweatshirt that simply says Good Trouble. This was not my intention. But when I went out for my daily ride this morning, because I am unapologetic about taking time for my mental health and well-being based on all the things that I have to do inside and outside of WURD radio station. I am doing a lot. Some things you may never know about. Some things will pop up in the spaces locally and nationally, and that's okay. 4.5 miles into my ride, my black tire blew out. I had my spin shoes on, my clip-in cycle shoes on, and I had to walk 2.5 miles with those cleats on with a metal piece banging on the ground as I walked. 2.5 miles. And I had to smile, and I said to myself, A, thank God I'm in good physical shape. I hiked 7 miles the day before in Wissahickon Park. And B, my ancestors had to walk much further, so I did not complain. Blessed Ronte, who rode her bike ahead, met us at another location, packed up our bikes so we could get back. And so what are you going to do when unanticipated things happen? Do we make noise about it? Do we complain and fuss and rail? Do we find fault and nitpick about every single solitary thing? Or do we look at the bigger worldview picture and say, you know what, in the grand scheme of things, this is not so bad. My quads are on fire, but I literally had to have a meeting at 9 o'clock in my car. I had another meeting at 10, and I've just been in meetings after meetings after meetings. So here I am in my Good Trouble sweatshirt, and it works for me, right? So you probably won't ever see this again because I like getting dressed formally to do my shows. All right, let me just say this to you because I wanted to make sure that you all understand this. Mayor Jim Kenney and Police Commissioner Daniel Outlaw said they have learned from the mistakes that happened during the George Floyd protests and vowed to keep people safe, including the demonstrators. This was written by Judy Chinchilla, which was published April 16th and updated April 17th. As Philadelphia leaders gear up for potential civil unrest after the trial of ex-Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, they're vowing not to repeat the mistakes they made last summer. Mayor Jim Kenney, Police Commissioner Daniel Outlaw, and other leaders said Friday that the city will deploy more police officers as well as 1,000 National Guard members and Pennsylvania State Police officers to keep Philadelphia safe, while adding that they have learned from last year's errors. When we look back at the protests at our city last summer, we know that police and our administration made mistakes in how we handled these demonstrations, Kenney said, alluding to the widespread looting, violence, and heavy-handed police tactics on peaceful protests seen following the death of George Floyd under the knee of Chauvin. I just want you to know that George Floyd was murdered in May of 2020. We're coming up on the 1-year anniversary. There is a feeling, there's an angst around the country, not just black folks, just around the country, people are trying to figure out what their next moves are going to be. And so I need you all to be prepared. As much as the city and the police departments are working to make sure that we are all safe, I want us to spend time making sure we take care of each other and keep each other safe. If you know there are protests going on, if you're not media, if you're not a part, stay home, please. If you know your neighbors need something to get medicine or whatever, and you can do that, do that. That's what Dr. Karenga talks about. We're responsible for each other. This is not a show. We are the trauma that has been inflicted upon black and brown folks, but specifically black folks from slavery, has been unending, right? It comes in different forms. And so we have to be ready for whatever this verdict is going to be. The closing arguments are happening, and we need to get ourselves in gear. Don't get caught, please, unaware. That's that for that, right? Let me just make sure. I'm trying to get it all in before I the Philadelphia police has been in the news quite a bit. The Philadelphia Police Commissioner apologizes after quality of life enforcement memo sparks concerns. The city of Philadelphia has come to a partial agreement with the ACLU of Pennsylvania regarding the Bailey case, a federal class action lawsuit filed in 2010 to reform stop and frisk policies in Philadelphia. However, the parties disagree with how police should handle quality of life crimes when reasonable suspicion is present. Currently, the Philadelphia police officers can conduct stops and issue tickets for a quality of life offense like public urination, smoking marijuana, panhandling, and littering. In 2016, Mayor Jim Kenney signed a law that decriminalized these offenses. The ACLU of Pennsylvania calls for reform, and in a March press release stated the reform measure would require an officer to first direct the individual to cease the offending conduct. Only if that person refuses will the police be allowed to make a forcible stop. Hold on 1 second, Michael. I just want to make sure. However, the city stated in recent court filing that stopping such enforcement would deprive the Philadelphia Police Department of a valuable crime-fighting tool at a time when Philadelphia's homicide rates have never been higher and when community members have been increasingly scared for their own safety and the safety of their families. On Friday, the Philadelphia Police Department sent a memo to residents and community organizations asking them to submit affidavits to the court stating that they oppose such actions that would stop the enforcement of quality life offenses. We forwarded it to our members and we got quite a few replies. You know, people are happy to be concerned about quality of life issues, but they're really also really concerned about how those goals are implemented, said Barbara Halpern, Vice President of the Center City Residents Association. On Saturday, Philadelphia Police Commissioner Daniel Outlaw and City Solicitor Diana Cortez apologized about the memo, in part stating the way in which that feedback was solicited was inappropriate and misconstrued the purpose of the request. To be clear, in no way was the intent to scare community members into hastily providing affidavits for fear of negatively impacting the case. And so there we are, right? And so there we go. So Maurice from North Philadelphia, how are you, sir?
Fine. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
I reached out to you about your show you had last Thursday, and I considered Jackie Robinson, and the discussion you had about with the Phillies guy, and I'm listening, and I don't think it was a clear picture of what was going on and what going on with baseball. But I wish I had known you was going to do an interview on there with your guest, and I would have informed you to look at a documentary from baseball camps in Dominican Republic to the Major League. And that would have given you an insight on how Latin America is giving by the Major League professional development camps. And over here in Philadelphia, we're not. So I want you to look at it.
Maurice, we talked about it. Did you know we talked about it?
Well, I listened
on
to
the show?
I listened to the whole conversation, but there was no answers there. And when you asked Mr. Holliday about junior baseball, he skirted around the answer because you had made a statement that your child's friend was taken off the team. But because the team, the traveling teams are either you are invited on the team or you have tryouts. They are showcases. So when you say junior anything in sports, take a look at golf and tennis. Serena and Venus were on the junior tennis. Tiger Woods was on junior golf. They are the cream of the crop. So now what we need in Philly, we need a fundamental foundation program to get the kids engaged and get the kids fundamentals up to speed. And I had talked to City Council about that a few years ago. Why? Because you look at the tournament that's in Philly, you don't have no Philly representation, even though it's called the Philadelphia Baseball Classic, but it's held in South Jersey at Rowan College. So when I go to that Cal Ripken tournament in Aberdeen, Maryland, you don't see no Philadelphia representation. Or you watch the Little League World Series on TV, you only see one representation, and that was the year that Monet Davis played. So the key is we have to find out what's the process of how to get our kids to the level where they can be shown, and that's what's missing. My nephew graduated Washington High School, but he went to the pro prospect camp in Florida 2 years in a row because he was all public, all city in baseball and football. So by being all city, all public, they invited him to the showcase, which is the pro prospect in Florida. So these are things we have to know. And the sports channel, only one guy really knew and spoke on it. He was the editor of the book 42 or something. He touched on it, but he didn't go further into the details of what they doing to Black Americans.
This was the white guy, right? He was really good. Yes. So let me just tell you how I'm going to have. I'm about to put Michael Cord. Michael Cord is coming on today to give us more detail. I read your email. I did.
Okay.
I could not respond.
But the key is, what?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I said I'm having Michael Cord on at 2:20 to go into more detail about Jackie Robinson. I read your email. Because of so much that was going on this weekend. I was national conversations, local conversations, and then I was doing my self-care. I can't be apologetic about that because I spend so much time making sure everybody's okay. I need to also take care of myself. And so I read your email and reached out to Michael Cord. So he'll be on. Okay?
Right. Our thing is that we work with 25,000 kids in Philadelphia with sports. So we're well in tune of what's going on in the city and as far as around the country when it comes to different sports and the Black community and with sports. That's what we do. Yeah. That's the program that we run.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought was missing. And also I thought on Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson was the first athlete to play 4 major sports in a college, Division I. He played basketball, football, track, and baseball. And he was All-American in football.
Yes, I did read that. Yes, track and it was all kinds of things going on. But thank you so much, Brother Maurice. You're well?
Yes, I am, and thank you for asking.
All right,
yes,
sir.
I am.
All right, we'll talk soon. Okay.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye. Michael, there's something going on from WURD radio, and my headphones work when I am not on the Zoom here with you guys, and then they don't work. So when I get on there, so we'll figure it out. But we'll be fine. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and we will be right back after these messages.
Recovery starts with a call. Pennsylvania's Substance Use Disorder Hotline is staffed by real people who are trained to help. They're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They'll get you or your loved one into treatment regardless of your access to insurance. If you or someone you know is suffering from addiction, call 1-800-662-HELP. Recovery starts with a call.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Here at JN Money, your safety is our top priority. During this time, JN Money encourages customers to send money safely and conveniently using our JN Money online service. For cash pickup, to the JN Money card, to bank accounts in Jamaica, and to pay bills directly in Jamaica. With fast, safe, and convenient services, JN Money will help you find a way. Stay safe. JN Money Services USA Incorporated, a licensed money transmitter in Connecticut, District of Columbia, Maryland, New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania. License number FT71415, Massachusetts Foreign Transmitter Agency.
I'm Henry Louis Gates Jr. We are people of resilience. No matter what happens, we fight through the pain. We protect our traditions. We uphold our excellence. So let's protect our lives with vaccines we can trust. We can do this.
To learn more about COVID-19 vaccines, visit cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
The Black Words Book Club. WURD Radio's monthly conversation on books that explore the African American experience through social, economic, and environmental justice issues. Tune in the second Tuesday of every month on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. The next book for May is Living in Color by Tommy Davidson. Be sure to listen live, as Nick Taliaferro will hold a contest for a giveaway book bundle that consists of 4 titles from Kensington's Dafina's Authors of Color's newest release. Don't miss it. Tuesday, May 11th on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Attention for WURD members. Get your copy and receive a 20% discount when you purchase at Harriet's Bookstore or Hakeem's Bookstore. For more information on the Black Words Book Club, visit wordradio.com. The Black Words Book Club is sponsored by Dafina. Dafina is an imprint of Kensington Publishing Corporation, America's independent publisher, concentrating on authors of color.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on wordradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. I want to tell you this quickly before I go to my next guest. Listen in to a special panel intergenerational discussion featuring 13 Black sorority sisters. Host Lonnie Love, White House leaders Dr. Marcel Nunez-Smith, and United States Surgeon General Vivek Murthy, and get up-to-date COVID facts for our Black communities. We're calling all sisters to join the conversation on Making It Plain, what Black America needs to know about COVID-19, the variants, and the vaccines, Monday, April 19th at 7 Eastern Time. All right, please head to facebook.com/blackdoctor-org or youtube.com/blackdoctors.org. All right, so we've done that. This is from the United States Department of Health. I just want to now go over here and introduce someone who may not be a stranger to you, but is not a stranger to me. Let me just go ahead and get this in. The Caribbean Restaurant Week, One Love, One Heart, One Meal, is happening. Team Jamaica Bickle is a not-for-profit 501c3 organization. Their main office is based in New York, with affiliate chapters in Philadelphia. If you want to know what Team Jamaica Bickle is, that's the group that for the last quarter century has been really hosting the pen relays for the athletes, not just only coming from Jamaica, but from other Caribbean islands. Because of COVID-19, the pen relays were canceled last year, 2020. It's been canceled for 2021 for obvious reasons. I have on the line with me today Michelle, I cannot wait. Michelle Neal, who is the co-chair for Team Jamaica Bickle. Wagwan, sisterin.
You tell me.
We'll link up with Talawa.
I know, right? By the way, I just love the quote, why great people are known by our good deeds. And immediately I think of you, because a lot of people don't even know that you're also involved in Team Jamaica Bickle. But they're going to know today.
For almost 15 years, I've been involved with Team Jamaica Bickle.
Yeah.
You hear me? Yes. Yes. So tell the folks about Team Jamaica Bickle, why it was formed. I know Erwin Clare.
Yes.
Stoddard are a part of it, and you know I've worked with all of you for years now, and you're doing a yeoman's job in making sure. Let me just also be very clear. Look at my eyes.
I'm looking.
Took care of the Jamaican athletes and other athletes from around the Caribbean islands. We took care of the American ones too. They They want to eat. They want to try the Jamaican food. They want a patty. They want a cocoa bread. They want a bun and cheese. And we're like, running, we got you. That's how loving we are as a people. And this is why I say Dr. Karenga's words so inspired me, right? Because we don't just look and say, oh, we're only taking care of the Jamaicans. We never did that, right? And it is the largest diggity dang tent.
I know.
Pen relays every year. So explain to people what you all do and what happens when the athletes come in and why we're doing this for Restaurant Week.
Okay, first, thank you very much for having me. This is an honor. So Team Jamaica Baker was formed in 1994. This would have been our 27th year. And as you said, it was started by Erwin Clare, Senior OG. It was his brainchild. And as you said, our main office is in New York. And then we have the affiliate here, Team Jamaica Baker Philadelphia. And that was also instrumental with Blaine Stoddard playing a major part in that. And so what we do, we are basically a hospitality initiative. That's what we do. So when the athletes come here, we provide transportation to and from the airport. It's funny enough because I was thinking about this and I said today would have been the day that
we go pick them up. Yes.
This would have been the day. Yeah. So this was perfect, you know. And that's the reason why we chose Restaurant Week for this week, because we want to celebrate and thank the athletes. I mean, the restaurants that have helped us. So we started in 1994, and we provide transportation back and forth from the hotels to Penn Relays, from the airport to the hotel. So we take care of all transportation, and that is our most expensive cost. We also subsidize the hotels that they are staying when they are here.
Yes.
And as you allude to, we feed them breakfast, lunch, and dinner. While they're here.
Ask me how I know, because I have served one morning, I served almost 1,000 breakfasts. I thought my back and my feet and my arms would never talk to me again.
But always with a smile. And you're always venturing. Sometimes I can't find you, and they said, oh, Angela was over there talking to this young kid. And I was like, what happened? I don't know. What is with you and the kids then? You always find them. I know we're diverting. I'm sorry. But that is you. That is you just like loving the kids, and they love you. And if you see something that's wrong, you talk about it. Something that's good, you celebrate with them. So we thank you for your time, and we miss you. Hopefully you'll come back next year. I know you're busy now because you have
as if I have a choice.
I know, right?
I would beat down my phone, then you and the rest of them would beat down my phone, and I love doing it. I love the elderly ladies from Lord, let me not call them elderly. The seasoned citizens from Jamaica and St. Vincent and Trinidad and Tobago who orders me around like I'm not grown.
I know.
Wash my hands and don't touch the dumpling and don't touch the flour and
they totally control the kitchen. I stay away from the kitchen. You can have the kitchen. I'll be at the front door.
And so there are a bunch of Jamaican restaurants that supply dinners before the Penn Relays, right? They come in the Monday before the Penn Relays happen. Have been supplying dinners and breakfasts and lunches. I know Talk of the Town was one of them, right?
We are going there tonight for dinner.
I am coming to support. I'm coming to support.
Okay.
Tell me what time. Just tell me what time.
Okay, we are be there at 6 o'clock.
Yes. If you are listening to us, the Jamaicans know where to go to eat the food. Places I like is Talk of the Town restaurant. I used to go in there and hide out from Americans when I do.
Really?
Sit in a corner, yes, and the Jamaicans would talk about me and speak the Yankee and start speaking in patois and pointing to me like I didn't understand them. And I bust out the patois and say, "Who you talking to?" It's so much fun. So Restaurant Week is happening, and who are the restaurants that we're supporting for, to say thank you from Team Jamaica Baker?
So I'm gonna give you a list. So on Saturday, we start on Saturday, and we went to Carib Grill. You have to check them out. It was so good. They are known for their oxtail. I mean,
Really?
I know you have your oxtail thing going on. I know, but they were really, really good.
Where are they located?
They're on 69th Street in Upper Darby.
They're in Upper.
Yeah, 501 South 69th Street. And the oxtail was so good. For those who eat pork, the jerk pork was good. The soup was good. Oh, I don't know how I'm going to manage after this because I'm visiting 16 restaurants for 8 days.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm doing gas. Yeah.
So where did you go on Sunday?
Yesterday I went to Little Delicious.
I've never heard of these places.
Really? They give us breakfast every year. When the kids come early in the week. Yeah.
Yes.
They supply the breakfast. They are actually on Woodland Avenue, 4821 Woodland Avenue.
So they're in West Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Little Delicious. Only Jamaicans could name a restaurant Little Delicious. And so you're going to Talk of the Town today.
Yeah. And then so we did Carib Grill for lunch, and then we went to Brown Sugar for dinner. And they're actually the owner is from St. Vincent, and you know what's happening with.
Yes, oh my God, thank you for bringing that up. Oh my God, there has been a volcano eruption in St. Vincent. When I was talking to Susan L. Taylor about this Healing What's Harming Us, she said this. She said, there is no news. No one's talking about this. The entire island is covered in ash, and not only St. Vincent, but other islands. What's happening there that you know of, Michelle?
Well, so far, as you just said, and they need a lot of help. So we are actually having efforts, and they have drop-off spot actually right here in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Let me tell you where. So, and Team Jamaica Bickle, you know, we are all a part of that gathering stuff, and we're gonna send. And I don't know if you remember. You should remember Cordis, James Cordis.
I do remember James.
Yeah, he's from St. Vincent.
I know.
On our team, so he's coordinating that, and we're working with him. But the drop-off spot is Best Coast Shippers here in Philadelphia. And that's at 5425 Baltimore Avenue.
Shippers, 5425 Baltimore Avenue?
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, this one is at 813 Long Acre Boulevard in Yeadon, PA.
Okay.
So those are two.
The Jamaicans are really concentrated in West Philadelphia and Upper Darby. I know this.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So you need to bring your own restaurant started in Northeast. Yeah. I'm just trying to let you know.
Because they're all trying to come to my house for Sunday dinner.
I know. Where's my invite?
Listen, because of COVID, we're setting up a tent in the backyard now. I just had a major conversation with a major funder who was talking about my doing this Sunday dinners on a national scale. Because everybody is paying attention to it. And I keep saying it is what we need to heal us, right? Yeah. People from all walks of life come to the table. But that Sunday dinner idea came from growing up in Jamaica, right? Anybody could come and eat a bickle to get tobacco, you know?
Mother always cook these extra food as if somebody's going to come, and then somebody do come.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. So what time are you guys going to be at talking?
We're going to be there at 6 p.m. tonight.
Okay.
And then
tell them I'm coming.
Okay, I will. And for lunch tomorrow, we'll be at Caribbean Delight, and that is on South Street. And then for dinner, we'll be at Jamaica Wings. That's on Westchester Pike.
See, all of that out there about West Philly. Jamaica Wings. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what are you hoping to do by supporting all these Jamaican restaurants on Restaurant Week?
So the main focus is to remind people that they have been affected by the pandemic. We have lost a few Jamaican restaurants as a result of the pandemic. So we are making a concerted effort to remind people that they are open. Most of them are not for dining, but you can order out, you can pick up, that kind of thing. So I just want everybody to know that they are still here. And also just to help us say thank you. This is what Team Jamaica Bickle is about helping others. That's what we do. That's why even though we have this restaurant thing going on, and then St. Vincent happened, we're just like, okay, we're just gonna bring it together and get people to start donating water or masks for St. Vincent and the Grenadines and so forth. So that's where we are. But I'm hoping that for those restaurants that are in the red at the end of this week, it will be the end of pen relays, they will be at least be in the black.
In the black, absolutely.
So
you know, Michelle, I didn't consider it when COVID hit, right? That we all had to be at home making our meals, that the restaurants would completely suffer as a direct result. And I have to tell you all this, when to watch the machinations of the pen relays when, listen, we got so good with the Team Jamaica Bickle tent that the University of Pennsylvania honored us.
Yep.
25th, they had never seen anything like it. And what we kept saying was this: if somebody needs something, we are there. You know, if people come from different places in St. Vincent, they call fried dumplings something else. What they call it?
I'm not
Big. They call it big. They call it big. Can I have 2 bigs, please? Right. And so we've learned how to speak a common language. And when the African Americans come in, when the black folks and even the white folks would come to the tent, you know, what's the one? Oh God, they own a master charters. Lenfest. Tent. Remember the year he was in the tent? I walked up to him and I said, "You do realize you're white, right? Why are you in this tent?" And he said, "I love Jamaica. I spend about 9 months out of the year in Jamaica." He said, "I love your people because you are so determined to do whatever you need to do, no matter how little you have." And so that's a lesson for me in, you don't have to be black and born in Jamaica to love the island and to appreciate what's going on at the Team Jamaica Bickle tent. We've had dignitaries show up, large and small, at that tent.
Our Prime Minister.
Our own Prime Minister was there, right? The head of departments from Jamaica was there. You'd be surprised to see. And so we're telling you all of this now. So when the pen relays begin again, start up again, we hope in 2022, and you see the Team Jamaica Bickle, the police, the Philadelphia Police Department officers showed up, you know. The black one would say to the white one, "You got to taste this. I don't know what it is. Put it in your mouth and eat it," you know. And it was literally, you know, developing relationships while doing a good deed.
Yes.
How does because Team Jamaica Bickle has been around for 25 years and the restaurants have been supporting us.
Don't forget Caribbean Food Delights.
New York. Who?
Caribbean Food Delights.
Caribbean Food Delights.
Yeah, they drive the truck all the way from New York. Mr. Hosan.
Mr. Hosan, yes. And his daughter, and they've done amazing work. And so when we talk about Dr. Karenga, who developed Kwanzaa, and we talk about doing what heals us, working for what heals us, this is a great example of doing what heals us instead of harm us, right? Wow. It's 4 days out of the week. Actually, we started from Monday. We run from Monday to Sunday, and we're tired when we're done. But we're loving on and helping people from all around the world. And that's why Michelle and I are having this conversation today. Please go and support all these Jamaican restaurants this week because, as she said, COVID-19 has impacted them all. Let me just make sure that I have, Lord, let's see. Eric's Restaurant, Jamaica D, which listen, the lines for that one was crazy, right? 2 Avenue. Jamaica D's is a Caribbean and American restaurant. Jamaica Wings and Dolette's Kitchen, Little Delicious, Morgan's Caribbean Restaurant, Quality Taste Jamaican Restaurant, Reef Restaurant and Lounge. That's in Center City, correct?
Yes, we're closing out on Saturday at Reef.
Right, all right. Okay, Ron's Jamaican Restaurant is on Broad Street.
Yep.
Royals is right next door to Talk of the Town. And then there's Ruby.
Actually, yes, they're right beside each other.
They're right beside each other, right? Ruby's Roof, Jamaican Restaurant, Jamaica Way Limited, and Brown Sugar. So those are all the restaurants. If they want to know, to get more details, Michelle, where would they go to find the restaurant list and where they're located?
Well, you can go on our website, which is www.tjbphilly.org.
tjbphilly.org, right?
Yes. Or you can call 215-432-1421. 1421. And we're also on the Team Jamaica Bickle itself website. And we're also on Jamaica Diaspora website. So everybody is involved. We couldn't do it by ourselves. You know,
as we say in Jamaica, we're little, but we're talawa.
Yes.
So if you want to find out a list of the restaurants, for those of you who love Jamaican food and think you should come to my house to eat it, ready to go, tjbphilly.org, and you can see the list of restaurants that they're supporting this week. If you live in West Philadelphia, Upper Darby, Northeast, there are Jamaican restaurants all over the place. And if you need more information, call 215-432-1421. Michelle Neal, thank you, my sister.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. By the way, how are you? I still cannot believe you walk in those shoes.
My quads are on fire, Michelle. I walked with spikes underneath the bottom of my shoes. I'm going to the bike shop after I leave here. They're going to replace them because they have to. I ruined them walking 2.5 miles in them. But you know, we're like a Talawa, right?
Yes, we do. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, my sister. One love. Talk to you soon. All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You are listening to The Source. 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. I hope you all understood that conversation. I get really excited when I talk to people about loving up on other folks. We spend too much time thinking about ourselves and not enough time thinking about each other. We will be right back after these messages.
Sankofa Freedom Academy Charter School is an African-centered public freedom school now accepting student enrollment from kindergarten through 12th grade. Visit www.sfacs.us and click the Intent to Enroll button to complete the form for the 2021-22 school year. For more information, call 215-288-2001.
Enterprise Exterminators, located at 4943 Wayne Avenue, has been in business since 1976 and can eliminate whatever pest problems you have. Enterprise specializes in bed bugs, lanternflies, and termites. Call for your free termite inspection today. Do-it-yourself kits are available. Enterprise Exterminators, servicing Philadelphia, Delaware, and New Jersey. Call now, 215-849-7070. Ask us about the WURD and senior discounts.
Listening to the Streets brings together young men to create street-level solutions to gun violence. Participants receive a $240 stipend, and if they attend 8 sessions, they're guaranteed a job offer. Man Up PHL and WURD want to end gun violence. Listening to the Streets is a step. Interested? Call 267-748-7818. That's 267-748-7818. Or email us at info@manupPHL.org.
Spring
You're listening
forward
to
Throwback. All this month, when you start or renew your WURD membership, you'll get exclusive WURD throwback swag, vintage backpacks, books, and tees. While supplies last. Offer ends April 30th. Sow seeds into Black Talk Media and grow with us. Visit WURDradio.com/join now to start or renew today.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Michael, are you playing I thought you were playing something for me. See, Michael, you're playing with... All right, so... I think, Michael, am I on? Are you... What's going on here? Let me just make sure, because, you know, we're challenged with all sorts of issues. I am on. Okay. All right. Not a problem. So listen, I started out by sharing with you that the Derek Chauvin trial is in closing arguments right now. Somebody's been asking, how do we get to know where all the restaurants are? Let me fix that first. T as in Tom, J as in Jumping Jack, B as in Bickle, Philly.gmail.com is their email address. You can call 215-432-1421. I put all of this in the Facebook post so you can see it, right? And there's a list of 15 Jamaican restaurants all across the city of Philadelphia that you can support because this would be Pen Relays Week. And they're the ones that would support the pen relays. But, of course, with COVID, you know, we can't do it. And Michelle Neal said some of them went out of business, right? We can't have that. One love, one heart, one meal. Caribbean Restaurant Week. And this is what Team Jamaica Pickle presents in support of restaurants that assist Caribbean athletes at the annual Pen Relays. I'm also going to challenge you that when the Pen Relays come back, come look for me in that tent. I may run a show from that tent because so much is happening there, and you'd be surprised to see how wonderful the students are from America, from the Caribbean islands, just everybody coming together to try the Jamaican food, and we don't turn anybody away. I want to, let me see. Oh, you're welcome, Michelle. You're absolutely welcome. Let me see. What else is going on here? One more thing I wanted to read to you. No, that's not what I want to do. There's something else I wanted to do for you. Hold on. I need to find this. So much is going on, and I'm trying to figure out where everything is in these Wakandan streets because, you know, what is important is that I need you all to know what is happening here. So hold on. This was something that happened last week, but I was not able to deal with it because we were dealing with the Jackie Robinson week, and so it's something that I want to talk about now, right? 2 Philadelphia police officers. This was written by, let me just make sure. Associated Press. So this came from the Associated Press. 2 Philadelphia police officers have been suspended after being charged with giving false statements in separate cases. Sergeant Michael Kennedy, 49, was federally indicted Wednesday on making false statements to the FBI, obstruction, and conspiracy to make a false statement. Separately, Officer James Saxton was arrested by the Philadelphia Police Department's Internal Affairs Division and charged with perjury. I'm reading this to you because you all think that the Philadelphia Police Department isn't doing anything, and they're starting to do some stuff, right? It just depends on how. This is what happened. The people actually spoke up. So here's what happened. Both officers were suspended by the police department for 30 days with the intent to fire them, according to a statement from Police Commissioner Daniel Outlaw. Kennedy was accused of stealing money, thought to be proceeds from drug trafficking, from a nightstand during a drug-related search warrant in 2016. The occupants of the apartment had installed security cameras and recorded the alleged theft that was later posted to Instagram. Cameras are everywhere. Do you hear me? I mean everywhere. The charges announced Wednesday by the U.S. Attorney's Office were related to the federal investigation of that alleged theft, though Kennedy was not charged in the theft itself. According to court documents, Kennedy told investigators he put the money in his pocket to later log into evidence. Federal authorities allege he lied several times to investigators during the investigation, then conspired to have another officer lie about the evidence transaction, coaching that officer on what to say to investigators. That second officer was not named in the court documents or charged. An attorney for Kennedy did not return a phone call from the Associated Press after hours Wednesday. Attorney Michael Drosner declined comment when he was reached earlier by the Philadelphia Inquirer, noting that only that Kennedy is on military leave with the U.S. Army. The Fraternal Order of Police Lodge No. 5 declined to comment. In the second unrelated charges announced Wednesday, Philadelphia District Attorney Larry Krasner announced that Officer James Saxton, 34, had been charged for allegedly lying under oath. Prosecutors alleged that in May 2019, Saxton gave false statements during a preliminary hearing when he was sworn under oath. The hearing was for a defendant he had arrested after he claimed to have witnessed a drug transaction. Investigators allege he falsified arrest documents to seek charges against one of the men. Prosecutors allege that Saxton's statements in court, as well as his written documentation from the arrest, were inconsistent with video evidence submitted to the office. An arrest warrant was issued for Saxton on April 8th, and he turned himself in to the Internal Affairs Bureau, according to a news release from the District Attorney's Office. He has been charged with perjury, unsworn falsification, and official oppression. A representative of the Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 5 said the organization will represent Saxton with counsel, but declined further comment. In its announcement that both men had been suspended late Wednesday, Commissioner Outlaw wrote that the department takes any allegations that officers have acted in a way that would erode the public's trust seriously. In order to earn the public's trust, it is imperative that our officers be held to the absolute highest of professional standards. Outlaw wrote in an email statement announcing she intended to fire both officers. The charges against Officer Saxton and Sergeant Kennedy in these two cases are alarming, and there is absolutely no place for this type of conduct in the Philadelphia Police Department. So I just wanted to read that to you all, because I think sometimes, you know, we fuss and complain about what's happening, but we don't talk about the things that are taking place to make sure that we are okay. Let me see. I just want to see what else is going on here. Hold on, because there's so much is happening, and I don't even... oh, Lord have mercy. One more thing I want to do before we take a quick break. And Michael, you got me this time, right? Because we have a couple of great guests coming up at the 2 o'clock hour. If you want to call in, 215-634-8065. I can take at least one phone call before I go to break, and then we'll be able to do this again. Let's see. Jesus. Oh, I read this. I read this already. Thank you, Dee. Dee already put this in the put this in here. I want to read this. Philadelphia Trib. The Philadelphia Tribune, something we talked about on Wednesday. Black Americans are experiencing collective trauma, grief, by Kat Stafford, Associated Press, which was sent to the Philadelphia Tribune. It was updated 3 hours ago. Carol Carlisle Pittman knows trauma firsthand. As the co-founder of the Chicago-based youth organization Good Kids Mad City, Englewood, he grieved the loss of Delmonte Johnson, a young community activist, more than 2 years ago to the very thing the teen fought fiercely against, gun violence. He has also been angered and frustrated by the onslaught of stories of Black Americans killed at the hands of police across the nation throughout the past year. First, there was Breonna Taylor, a Black woman who was fatally shot in her Louisville, Kentucky home last March. Then there was George Floyd, whose Memorial Day killing by a Minneapolis police officer sparked global protest. Just this week, Dante Wright, a 20-year-old Black man, was fatally shot by a police officer during a traffic stop in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, just minutes from where Floyd died. It has also come out that they knew each other and that they're related on some level. And on Friday, Pittman spent much of the day planning a demonstration with other Chicago organizers to protest the police killing of 13-year-old Adam Toledo, who was Latino. We're constantly turning on the TV, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and seeing people that look like us who are getting murdered with no repercussions, said Pittman, an organizer for a New Deal for Youth. It's not normal to see someone get murdered by the click of a video on your phone, yet it has become the norm for our people, our Black and brown communities. Many Black Americans are facing a collective sense of grief and trauma that has grown more profound with the loss of each life at the hands of police in America. Some see themselves and their children reflected in the victims of police violence, heightening the grief they feel. That collective mourning is a great concern to experts and medical professionals who consider the intersectionality of racism and various forms of trauma impacting communities of color a serious public health crisis facing America. One of the speakers that spoke at the National Cares Mentoring Movement, Healing What Harms Us, said that racism shows up as hypertension, diabetes, kidney disease, breast cancer, those kinds of things for us. And so it's not been an easy time, but here we are, right? We are resilient. We have lots of allies. And again, Dr. Karengo says we cannot wait for people to liberate us. We must liberate ourselves. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
COVID vaccines are here, and Black physicians and scientists help to develop them. So I feel good about getting the vaccine. And with new forms of the virus now spreading, I know we need to keep up everything we're already doing. Masking up, keeping that 6-foot distance, and avoiding crowds. COVID's been doubly tough on us, so let's double down to take it down. We can do this. Learn more about getting the vaccine and slowing the spread at cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
The Sweet Treat Hut is the highest-rated juice bar in Philly, located on the corner of 50th and Thompson Streets, providing delicious, healthy vegan food, juices, and smoothies. Treat yourself to a cup of happiness. Call 215-877-1471.
The WURD Radio Newsletter, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected. Sign up by visiting WURDradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on WURD Radio, messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax Reese, exclusive articles and multimedia content, and resources. Stay informed with the WURD Radio Newsletter. Join WURD Radio CEO Sarah Lomax Reese on Wednesday, April 21st at 1 p.m. for a special virtual broadcast in celebration of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Month. Sarah will be leading a conversation with African American C-suite executives, exploring the challenges and opportunities of creating real diversity, equity, and inclusion in corporate America. Panelists include Delilah Wilson Scott, Chief Diversity Officer at Comcast and President of the Comcast Foundation, Michael Rashid, Commerce Director for the City of Philadelphia, and Ramona Risco Benson, Director of Corporate and Community Relations at PICO. Tune in Wednesday, April 21st at 1 p.m. for this important conversation. For more information, visit WURDradio.com and click on the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Month banner. Brought to you by Comcast, Bank of America, PICO, Thomas Jefferson University, and Jefferson Health. This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Black Talk Media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Good morning or evening, friends. Here's your friendly announcer. I have serious news to pass on to everybody. What I'm about to say could mean the world's disaster. Could change your joy and laughter to tears and pain. It's that love in need of love today. Don't delay, send yours in right away. Hey, going round, breaking many hearts. Stop it, please, before it's gone too far.
Welcome back to The Source. I don't know about the rest of you, but music has been a healing salve, and Stevie Wonder has been in my head and heart. I've been playing quite a bit of him as I hike on Sundays and ride my bicycle, and took some time for self-care. There's a gentleman by the name of Wilson who rode his bicycle for 33 years on the Schuylkill Trail and wherever else he could, who had a fatal heart attack last week. They had a memorial for him out on that trail on Saturday. They spray painted his bicycle white and just really left a great memorial there for him. Diane from South Philly, how are you?
Good afternoon, Mother. How are you?
I'm good, darling. It's always good to hear your smiley voice. What's going on?
Thank you. I love you so much. You are, oh God, you are a legend. You are a legend. I just love the information you bring us, and I love your interaction with the young people. It's just amazing, because when they're not doing good, we're not doing good. So I just thank you for all the work that you do for the young people and making their lives better. Truly, I thank you for that. And what I call for, my husband went to the eye doctor on Saturday. The eye doctor.
Dr. Major?
Yes, he loved her. He was so impressed with her. And he, looked back his eyes, and like you say, she'll see what's going on with you, what other doctors won't tell you. But he was so impressed with her.
So, Diane, can I tell you that I am very purposeful about that, right? I find amazing doctors for us. They don't have to be black. They can be white, but they have to be really good. And they have to listen to us when we talk to them, right? And so it's imperative. And so what I have gotten to do now is, instead of fussing and complaining that we're not being treated well, I find the doctors. And these doctors that I am recommending to you are my personal doctors, right? They've treated me well. I love them. And so I send them to you so that you can go talk to them. And really, if you're a doctor that's not doing what you're supposed to do, go visit somebody like Dr. Archima Major and see what she's doing. From the ambience to the people on her staff, to the way she talks to you, to the way she listens when you talk, right? And therefore we'll be able to help more people, because the traumas in this country are really harming us in so many ways that we need to have people who give a diggity dang about our health and well-being. Am I making sense, Diane?
Yes, you are. You're making plenty of sense. Because he said, she didn't rush me. She took her time with me, and he was so impressed with her. So I just want to call you today to thank you for thank you so much for recommending her. Yeah.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Tell your husband I said you are welcome.
I will, Mother.
And listen, Diane, and if he needs another recommendation, tell him I got a colonoscopy doctor, got a heart doctor, I got a foot doctor, Marvel got them all in these Wakandan streets, okay?
All right now. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. All right, bye-bye. Michael, let him in for me, please. I can see him. Thank you so much. I am going to introduce our next guest. Let me just make sure that I do that. And Michael, please send me the live read. It needs to go into my lineup so that I'm not going from place to place trying to find it, okay? All right, so let's see. Let me go over here, and there he is. Hold on, let me go ahead.
Hey, Andrea.
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I am pretty good. How about yourself? You look well.
Listen, I'm exercising. I'm trying to keep the trauma out of my life, Mr.
I know. I can appreciate that.
Let me introduce you, and then we'll talk about what you wanted to be on the show for, right?
Absolutely.
So, Calvin A. Jeremiah was named president and CEO of the Philadelphia Housing Authority on March 14, 2013, after serving as the HUD-appointed administrative receiver and the interim executive director since June 2012. Oversees the day-to-day operation. He's a 15-year housing veteran. Some of his major initiatives as president and CEO include relaunching an improved pre-apprenticeship training program for residents and expanding the PHA Police Department for the first time in over a decade to address safety and security issues. Today, he's on to talk about the Philadelphia Housing Authority and Temple University College of Public Health have launched a groundbreaking initiative to vaccinate residents in high-risk, lower-income neighborhoods against COVID-19. Hallelujah. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Andrea. Good afternoon. It's so good to be with you again.
Yes, sir. So explain to us the initiative that you're having through the Philadelphia Housing Authority.
Well, Andre, let me just put it in perspective. You know that, our community, blacks and brown, across the city as well as across the United States, have been disproportionately impacted by COVID-19. Mm-hmm. And we understand that an equitable return post-COVID requires vaccinations.
Yes.
And so I wanted to make sure that PHA and PHA residents would be at the front line getting those vaccines. The notion that, black folks and brown folks didn't want the vaccine, I asked the question, who did you offer it to? Mm-hmm. And it wasn't being offered in a meaningful way. And we saw that blacks and browns were 3 times more likely to attract and die from COVID-19. So why aren't they 3 times more likely to get the vaccine to prevent the deleterious effect of COVID-19? And so we looked across the city to figure out who we can partner with. Mm-hmm. And I got to tell you, I am just so impressed with Temple University, the School of Nursing, School of Public Health. They really stepped up in a big way to bring the vaccine literally to our residents' doorsteps. Mm-hmm. Because frankly, we understood as well that there were some real barriers to our community accessing the vaccine, not the list of which happens to be around the technological requirements that are required. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you're looking at folks who do not have access to a computer, mm-hmm. don't have internet connectivity, mm-hmm. Have transportation issues, mm-hmm. and who are, in terms of their social economic standing, the most vulnerable. We have seniors who are getting vaccinated who didn't feel safe enough to go out in these long lines at those mass vaccination sites, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And who frankly didn't have the connection to get transportation there. And so we thought that an appropriate way to address all of those barriers would be, in fact, to bring it to our residents. Mm-hmm. And it's been going incredibly well.
When did you start it, and what was the response to the residents in your?
We got residents who are so resilient, and the response was, once we provided information about the vaccine, we held several frequently asked question sessions with residents where they can be informed about about these vaccines, they were really excited. They didn't have to go in long lines. We were literally bringing it to the development. You know, I had last week a young lady who turned 101. 101 came down to get vaccinated, and she expressed how happy she was that she didn't have to go and stand in long lines. She said, "Mr. Jeremiah, I'm afraid. I didn't want to go out, and I don't know anything about that computer thing, you know." And here we are bringing it to them where they live without having to wait, you know, hours at a time, you know. But I really got to tell you, it's the partnership with Temple and with our resident leadership across the board that really is making this possible.
Yes. So it's interesting because while we want the vaccine, we want it from people who are going to treat us like human beings. So it was incredibly wonderful of Temple to do the partnership, but the partnership would not have worked if the people who were not delivering the vaccine were not being kind and generous. Because, you know, we've gone through so much that we need folks who are not going to just jam a needle in our arm and say next, right? So how do we get to the table with Temple?
Well, you know, Temple understood this, and this partnership started with hiring residents as community health workers. You know why we did that? Because we need to have ambassadors, with all due respect to everybody out there, that looks like us, who understands the language, who understands the cultural, socioeconomic, and cultural barriers that we're confronted with. And when we showed up and knocked on their doors, and they had so many questions about so many things, and we were treating them like I would want my mother to be treated. Every question was a good question. They were being respected, right? They felt comfortable because they were getting the information from people that looked like them, who lived in some cases in the very development.
Right.
And that made a difference. That made a real difference. So when we knocked on the doors, in some cases, 85% of the development came down to get vaccinated.
It's wonderful.
Right? And so, you know, we wanted to do more of that, because as much as folks are talking about the impact on the African-American community, low-income communities, we were seeing, you know, a kind of desperate treatment of our community, our low-income communities, who, you know, were dealing with access and barriers to the vaccine that we really needed to overcome.
So here's my my next question for you. Hold on, I'm getting my. Oh, people are getting their colonoscopies from Dr. Blake. I'm telling you, I'm so intent on making sure that our people get what they need. So I've been on here telling them about my colonoscopies and things.
Well, you're all over this.
I am.
As you should be.
I should be, right?
And it should be directed to the brothers like me too, by the way.
Yep. And
we need to.
It's frightening. So let me ask you this: how do people in the community, the Philadelphia Housing Authority, how do they get vaccinated? Do you come to them? Every development has a Temple person there?
No. So we schedule at various sites. So before we go to the site, we do a whole lot of outreach. We let them know that there's a specific date and time that we will be there. They have an opportunity to sign up if they can. We actually have the community health coordinators in touch with them. We hold a frequently asked question and answer session, so that they can ask whatever question that they have. You know, whether the vaccine is going to make them grow an additional tool,
right?
You know, or
thank you.
Any and all questions. And then we show up, and they come downstairs. In some cases, we knock on their door, let them know that we're there. We escort some folks who are living with disabilities, and they come down. And Temple University staff, School of Nursing professionals are there administering the vaccine, and then we follow up. The school follow up with a call just to check in on the person receiving the vaccine to make sure that they don't have any side effects. So if they have questions, they can, follow-up question that they can ask. And then a month later, we return to that same development to get the second shot.
Oh, wow. So you have a fan on the line. Prince, are you there?
Yes, hello. How are you?
I am good. What's going on, sir?
This is such a surprise. So, I used to live in public housing, and as I was developing myself and developing my business, Calvin Jeremiah pulled me aside and mentored me and told me that I needed to not do this and I needed to not do that. And as much as I thought I knew so much, I felt I didn't know a lot. And I had a tremendous amount of respect for this man who had helped me, help myself, and helped me help residents who were living in public housing. Yes. And so we were able to bid on contracts and be successful at it. And so thank you for having him on our station. And I'm so overwhelmed and just pleased to hear that a host reach out to folks that are making a difference in this city right here. And
come on, Prince. Now, come on, Prince. You already know, Mother, don't play those games, right?
I know that's right.
We're calling on them to take care of the people. And Mr. Jeremiah, I hear an accent. Where are you from?
Grenada.
You're from Grenada. See.
We have the connection. No worries.
Yes, and so for Prince to call, Mr. Jeremiah, I'll tell you this.
Andrea,
for Prince, yes, darling.
So the second book I gave out was to you. The first book I gave out when I had wrote it was to him, because he's also someone who has constructive criticism that I respect. And I think that when young men can go to another man for constructive criticism, it helps lead them down this path of success.
Mr.
And
Jeremiah,
I'm going to hang up when I'm listening to you guys. Thank you.
No, don't hang up. Don't hang up, Prince. Don't hang up. I want you to know that Prince calls here every day.
I'm not surprised.
and gives me the tea for the fever, what I need to look up, what I need to focus on, what I need to. And so for him to call and say someone is his mentor and he has the utmost respect, you must be walking on cotton.
Oh my goodness.
He don't just love upon anybody now.
I do know. I'm very, very fond of Prince. He's a good guy, wanted to do good work that makes a difference. And it's important to me that as we find social and economic mobility, that we reach back and help others. Too often we don't give the support that folks need, and sometimes it's just a nudge. Sometimes it's he's pulling a brother aside and saying, "Listen, man, you're going about this the wrong way. There's a better way, and why don't you try this approach? Let's see if that works better."
Yes. Oh, Prince, did you hear that?
Hey, Andrea, I talked to you when you first started on the air, but when he first got here, I stood up to every board meeting every month.
You did.
So that means he likes me then, Mr. Jeremiah, huh?
That's how it starts, Once you get under your skin, he stays there.
He does.
And Andrea, look at Andrea. You know what though? One of the things that was so important when you meet people is because my mom was a tenant resident leader, and the respect he had for my mom automatically put me in a position that I'd never disrespect this man, because he respects my mom like I respect my mom. And so I just wanted to lead that, because I don't want to get emotional. I got a rumble for tomorrow for you, so I'm going to get off there.
Okay. All right, Prince.
His mother, just so if I may, Miss Jonathan was an incredible woman who cared so deeply about people. And I was so incredibly fond of her. She reminds me a lot of my own grandmother. And so, I enjoyed working with her. And,
Mr. Jeremiah, I have a question for you, because I'm on a quest. I'm on a quest to make sure that we not only meet people where they are, but really just hear their stories, right? Would it be okay for me to come and interview some of your residents?
Absolutely.
I think we make assumptions, all the time. And I every time I talk to Prince, and now talking to you, I realize that I just need to know more, right? Right here in Philadelphia, what's happening for them in the housing, and what do we need to know instead of judging? You understand what I'm saying?
Oh my goodness, I would welcome that opportunity. I think what you'll find is a population who is kind and generous, who in some cases have been trapped, and who, like you and me, have the same kind of aspirations for their children that you and I have, who wants to live in safe communities, who want to have quality housing where they can invite their family and friends over and feel proud to do that. They are a resilient group who hasn't really been given every opportunity to live up to their God-given potential.
Yes.
That's some of the things that we're trying to do here at the Philadelphia Housing
So
Authority.
guess what I'm getting ready to do? I'm getting ready to highlight some of them, right?
Absolutely. I would love for you to do that.
Tell them Marva is coming.
Come on up. Come on. I want you to.
I so love people and talking to them right where they are and experiencing them, right? When we seek to understand instead of always wanting to be understood, we make such a great impact. And that's the impact that you left on Prince. So I cannot thank you enough. I'm sure if you did it on Haley says, man, Andrea, listening to all of you guys are getting me hyped. I feel like I'm a part of the show. See what I mean? This is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about.
Mother, that's what it's about.
That's exactly
what it's about,
Yep. So how long will this program be going on with Temple, and then we can say goodbye?
So we want to continue this now that we've opened up eligibility to virtually everyone over 16. We have a vaccination going on at our John F. Street Center as we speak. We're going to continue as long as there are people within our developments, within our housing that needs it. It's the way back to some level of normalcy.
Yes.
And I want to make sure that our families and residents are vaccinated.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir. It's such a pleasure.
It's my pleasure. Always happy to be with you.
Yeah, let me know who I should reach out to do those interviews, because I'm determined to do it. I'm going to do that.
Absolutely. I would love for you to do that.
Yes, sir. All right. Have a good one, okay?
You take good care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. So I know I have Tyrone. Tell Tyrone to hold on 1 second. I'll get to him right after I get off the break. You are listening to the... Nope, that's not what I want to do. See, I'm telling you, I've got 4 things going on. The time is now 2:19 p.m. and the temperature is 63 degrees, sponsored by Beach Companies. Dr. Ken Scott, president of Beach Companies, reminds everyone to support Black people and Black businesses 365. Please view and download the free 2021 Black Business Directory and Community Resources Directory at beachcompanies.com. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Jefferson Health offers no-cost COVID-19 testing sites at St. Raymond of Pinafort Church. Testing is on Thursdays and Saturdays. A second testing location has been added at Richard Allen Preparatory Charter School. Testing is on Wednesdays and Fridays. For testing hours and more information, visit jeffersonhealth.org/community testing.
Hello, this is Councilmember Kendra Brooks. I'm calling with important information about COVID-19 vaccines. In the coming weeks, all Philadelphians over the age of 16 will be eligible for vaccination. However, you must be registered with the city to get vaccinated. Register today at www.phila.gov and fill out the vaccine interest form or email covid@phila.gov. If you cannot complete the online form, call 311 to get registered. Your information is confidential. Get registered today. Thank you.
Family Therapy Vignette Moments with Dr. Lucille Ijoy.
How do homeless people make out during these pandemic times? Besides eating, finding places to live, getting vaccines and wearing masks, washing their hands, and living 6 feet from each other. Phew, I look and see that I have some good stuff I won't wear again. Yes, that's right. I'm not going to wear this stuff again. The shoes are good. I'm not wearing these again. The hats are good. I won't be wearing them either. I'm going to gently wrap this stuff and give it to a thrift store, all for free. It's pandemic time. Besides, I'm having more space and I can breathe better during pandemic times. I have a friend, Miss Dorcas. She's a WURD listener. I bet Dorcas gives away good stuff during this pandemic time. Why not?
This is not a fad for us. We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are undeniably, indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media. WURD.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. While I wait for Michael Cord to get on the line, so he and I can have a riveting conversation. It's one of the smartest black men I ever did meet. I love me some Michael Cord. I want to talk to you a little bit about the Colorectal Cancer Alliance. You know, I've been talking, telling folks that I went to see Dr. Blake to get my colonoscopy done. And so WURD Radio, in partnership with the Colorectal Cancer Alliance, Independence Blue Cross Foundation, Penn Medicine, and LabCorp have teamed up to launch Go to Know. Go to Know is a new public health campaign to reduce colorectal cancer in the black community. Request your free Easy Kit at home. Collect colorectal cancer screening kit. Request your free, easy, at home colorectal cancer screening test called a FIT kit. The FIT kit is designed to provide early detection of colorectal cancer. The FIT test doesn't require any fasting or colon cleanses, and it can be done in a matter of minutes. Most importantly, you'll learn how to make sure you and your family members can stay safe and live a long, healthy life. Go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner or call 1-877-422-2030 to learn how you can get your free at-home FIT kit 45 screening test. I see him, Michael. Hold on one second. Let me take Tyrone. Tyrone, are you there?
Yes, I am, Mother. How's
It's my baby, Tyrone. I think you're better. How you doing, honey?
I am good. Good. Look, I know Jeremiah got off, but I really wanted him to speak to what is close to your heart, the community centers at the development that work with the children with the homework centers. You know, he does a lot. DHA does a lot in support of, various programs working with children. And I wanted him to speak to that since that's close to your heart.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, you know what? I'm going to have him back on. And I am actually going to go into the community, into the Housing Authority community, and start interviewing people. All right?
Yes. And Mother, I really wanted to speak again that our brother Tamari put out a call to action in reference to their putting a initiative together from May the 19th, which is Malcolm X's birthday, to June the 19th, Juneteenth. And I want to keep, throwing it out because, we continue to try to deal with all the things that are coming at us. And as you always say, what's the solution?
Come on.
What do you, what can you do to say if this isn't an issue, then what are you going to do about it? And this call to action, I think, is an action that any and everybody that's looking at trying to support, our community, stabilize our community, keep our community safe, help our young people, stop the violence. I think this initiative is one of the things that folks can latch on to. So I'm pretty sure you'll be hearing more about it and have all the details. But I definitely wanted to put that out. And I want to close with this, Mother. You know, we talked about what happened before the last community uproar. And I just want to say to all of my brothers and sisters, come on, y'all, let's not be destroyers of our community. We got to be builders. We got to be creative. We got to do things that's going to change the paradigm and dynamic in our community, and we can't do it when we're tearing it up. So to everyone, please do what you can to make sure that we do not set our communities on fire, that we do not tear up, burn up our stores. And I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to keep saying it. Those that do the snatching glass, they care nothing about the issue. Well, I'm sorry, most of them care nothing about the issue, care nothing about the movement, and care nothing about the state of our community. Those doing the snatch and grab. That's my analysis. And when you look at it, when the folks who have an opportunity to come to community meetings, do things to work on the community, they're not there. So that's what I'm saying, and I'm going to stick with that.
So Tyrone, can I say this to you, my brother? I love you with every fiber of my being. You have been calling here for over a year, and I do know that you are an excellent community member. What I also want you to think about is Dr. Karenga and his words, right? That we have to love upon each other, even the ones who don't seem lovable. So while I acknowledge that we have issues going on in our communities, I'd like us to find purposeful ways around solving those things and loving people up, right, to a better place. Does that make sense? Wherever possible. Let me just say wherever possible, because it's not all.
And Mother, I definitely want to lift everyone up, every one of my brothers and sisters. I hate to, kind of say, please don't do it, but I'm going to say it. But once again, to those folks who are not a part of the struggle, they are, believe me, part of the problem. If they're not part of the struggle, they are a part of the problem, because we need each and every one. And thank you, Mother, once again for allowing me to share that.
You're welcome, my brother. Take it easy. We'll talk soon, okay?
Very good.
All right, bye-bye. Now listen, y'all. This next brother that I'm getting ready to talk to, I'm about to out my whole self. One of the smartest people I had ever met. Ha! So when I talk to him, I am just like, woo! Michael Cord, a criminal defense attorney with more than 25 years of state and federal trial experience, specializes in murder cases and worked at the Charles W. Bowser Law Center after serving as legal counsel for State Senator Hardy Williams. He received his degree in law from Ohio State University and his undergraduate degrees in English education and political science from Cheney University. I'm not going any further because his bio reads like the who's who of the what's what. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
First of all, thank you for not reading that boring bio. I hate it when people do that. I already respected you. You got 5 extra points for cutting that off. I just tell people to say the angriest black man in America, and then that's it. So thank you very much.
You are so welcome. So listen, there's a couple of things I want to talk to you about. I need you to go a little bit more in depth about Jackie Robinson. Me a video that I watched, and I shared it on my Facebook page. I said, Michael sent this to me, now y'all need to watch it. Because quite frankly, Jackie Robinson was absolutely right in that people only treat us the way we allow them to, and that talks all day, every day.
Yes.
Before we get off the line, I want us to talk about the Derek Chauvin trial and what we're okay? I mean, I'm getting a twofer out of you today.
And that's perfect. That's perfect.
Okay.
So I'm ready whenever you are.
All right, let's go into Jackie Robinson and why he was so instrumental and important in your life, and what is it that we're missing about him today? That's A. And B, why are the Major League Baseball teams are going to the Caribbean islands because they can get the athletes at a cheaper price. Same kind of strength and agility but they're putting a lot of money into them, though. And we keep asking about why aren't you doing it? You're doing it in the inner cities, but are you really focusing and bringing in those young children here? So I think I know what your answer is going to be for that one, but okay, let's do it.
Yes, well, and I'll cut to the chase very quickly on Jackie Robinson, because our community really needs to know what's really going on in Derek Chauvin trial.
Yes.
So I want to save time for that, but one of the reasons that we're talking about this, and I got to thank you, Andrea, for having me on, because on the 15th, we talked about this.
Yes.
Charles Ellis and UI and everybody else, that was Jackie Robinson Day. And one of the things people really need to understand about Jackie Robinson is that he wasn't the laid-back, nice guy that people thought he was. When I say nice guy, I mean, he was certainly a pleasant guy. He was a wonderful guy, but he didn't tolerate nonsense from white people. So when you saw him appear to be such a nice, gentle guy, that was all an act, because they said he did not tolerate that. And there were a number of stories that people told about him. One is from the time he was with the Kansas City Monarchs, and they were in Oklahoma, and there was this gas station they used for their big baseball team bus. And they'd gone there a number of times. And one day, Jackie said, hey, I got to go to the men's room. So he gets off the bus, walks to the men's room. The white guy owning the gas station said, where are you going? Jackie said, I'm going to the men's room. Like, no, you know, black folks, the N-word can't use that. And Jackie looked over at the guys on the bus. He said, take the pump out of the bus. We're going to give you about $60, $70. That's probably like about $1,000 today.
Now, yes.
And we're about to give you almost $1,000 worth of gas profits, and you're not going to let me leave. You're not going to let me use the bathroom? Jackie's like, I'm not even going to argue with you. Take the pump out of the bus. All of a sudden, that racist guy realized that he was going to lose a lot of money. He said, oh, it was a misunderstanding. Go ahead. You can use the men's room. And Jackie's point was that black people are disrespected because we allow ourselves to be disrespected. What if the first person who tried to use that Oklahoma gas station and use the bathroom was told he couldn't use it? He said, well, I got to find someplace else to go. So that's a great story about Jackie. He's a nice guy, but he wasn't as meek and mild as people thought. He did what he did, not so much for himself, but for blacks who came behind him. He figured if he did the Michael Cord angry black man thing, then no black person would make it to the major league. So he crawled so we could walk. But it was really an act that he understood. The other thing I want to say very quickly before we get to Derek Chauvin is that I got to tell you, I know that the Phillies were working with WURD and doing some stuff with Philly Fanatic and all that. So I didn't want to badmouth them. But the Philadelphia Phillies, they're fraud. They're frauds. They're the worst team in baseball when it comes to racism, not only currently, but historically. In a documentary about Jackie, his wife said that of all the cities they played in they played in Mississippi, they played in Alabama, they played in Georgia. They said the worst city by far was Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And that didn't surprise him because the owner of the team early on was Connie Mack. His real name was Cornelius McGillicuddy. And he said up until his dying day that there would never be an N-word playing for the Phillies. So, and one of the greatest players in Philadelphia history, Dick Allen, he was basically thrown out of town. I mean, it's just outrageous. So I'm so glad that Jackie did what he did to understand and express the importance of black folks using their dollars to get respect. I'm so glad that his widow talked about how Philadelphia was so horrible. So I'm so glad that WURD did what it did on the 15th to talk about Jackie. But the final thing I'll say, because I really want to talk about Derek, is that as great of a day as it was on April 15, 1947, when Jackie got signed to the Brooklyn Dodgers, that was the death knell of Negro League
Baseball. Yes.
Because what happened is, people don't realize it, but it wasn't just a thriving business itself, Negro League Baseball, but it actually served as an economic octopus because it financed other business. There was the funeral home. There was the laundromat. There was the dry cleaners. There was the bank. All these different black businesses invested in Negro League Baseball. And then when Major League came and started to take out some of our best players, after Jackie was Larry Doby. After Larry Doby, it was Monty Irvin. After Monty Irvin, it was Don Newcomb. It was all these. It was like if you have an all-star team of baseball players and people just start pulling your best out. You don't have all-stars anymore. So when our talent was drained from Negro League Baseball, that killed Negro League Baseball, and it killed the businesses that supported it. I love what happened to Jackie but I hate what happened to Negro League Baseball. He gets props.
But here's the thing that I was thinking. I think Major League Baseball did that on purpose. They saw earning potential.
Yes.
Could play. So now they destroy Negro League Baseball.
Yes.
Look what happened today. Only 5%.
Woo.
5%.
Yep.
You know, so they were intentional. We thought it was a good thing, and it really was such a good thing, right? All these years later, Jackie would have been over 100 years old today, right?
Absolutely. And, you know, we know these great things about Jackie, but there were so many other players. And Jackie used to say back in the day that he wasn't even the best.
Wow.
He admitted he wasn't the best player in the Negro League, but he was the best face from the Negro League because he was a college graduate. He was articulate. He was everything. He was telegenic. And I can understand. It's almost like the Rosa Parks thing. You know, the civil rights movement used Rosa Parks because she was the best face for the struggle at the time. She might not have been the most victimized person, and she wasn't. So it was a PR move, and Jackie even admitted he wasn't the best player. I mean, you had people like Joe DiMaggio, one of the greatest white players in Major League Baseball. Joe DiMaggio made it clear. He said that Satchel Paige was the most fearsome pitcher he ever encountered. And Josh Gibson is the only person to actually ever hit a ball out of Yankee Stadium. So you talk about these great baseball players, great work. And when I say great work, I not only mean, obviously, Major League Baseball, but great work from WRD and from you and from Charles for playing that up and giving rabble-rousers like me the opportunity to expose the hypocrisy of the Philadelphia Phillies and to talk about how the death of the Negro League Baseball happened on the day that Jackie Robinson was born in Major League Baseball. But it was a step in the right direction. Unfortunately, it was a small step because, as you pointed out, what the Phillies and other teams are doing now, they're going to the Caribbean and getting other players. And for me, it's not an either-or proposition because the brothers from the Caribbean who are as dark as me, we're all the same. I'm saying treat them both the same. Don't ignore the American players to get labor, and don't pay those Caribbean players less than you would pay the white players. So I'm saying get all the best players who, by the way, every time there's a sport that we have access to, we excel. You know, we showed that in golf. We showed that in tennis. Anytime we get a chance to play, we go to the top. So once again, thanks to WRD for talking about Jackie Robinson Day on the 15th and letting folks know that it was a great day for Jackie Robinson on April 15, 1947. It was a bad day for Negro League Baseball on that day.
So listen, I am going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll talk about Derek Chauvin. But I have to say this publicly, thank you. When I am not able to be on the air, you are my choice.
I appreciate you saying that. That means a lot.
When I tell you, because I go in with no Vaseline.
Amen. Well said.
And so I just, you know, people were texting me. They were like, we miss you, but Lord, he is just as good. Like he is, you're speaking the language that I speak with them every single day, right?
You and I say the same thing. You're the female version of Michael X. Michael X is the male version of Andrea Lawful Sanders. Same thing.
Yep. So hold on one second. We're going to come back and talk about this trial because this is very important.
Yes.
Unease and unrest around us. And we need to it, okay? All right. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
You probably heard it before, but one of the best ways to stay safe from COVID is by avoiding crowds. That's better. Also, when you're out in public, make sure you stay 6 feet away from strangers or people you don't live with. It's okay to say, "Can I have some space, please?"
Well, it's going to be a beautiful sunny day today, and we can expect much.
If you're gonna have a get-together with friends and family, have it outside. And remember to keep those 6 feet of social distance. And last but not least, wear a mask that covers your nose and mouth with no gaps. They slow the spread of COVID or new forms of the virus called variants. And make sure you get your vaccine when it's your turn. We're all out here trying our best, and it's making a difference. We just gotta keep it up. We can do this.
To learn more about slowing the spread, visit cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Okay, hers new fire potato chips and cheese curls. They are spicy. Whew, they're hottest snacks yet. Hold on. Whew. But you know, it's not just heat. There's some nice sweet and savory stuff going on too. Ooh, there's that heat again. It burns, but it burns so tasty. Ooh, that's hot. Find Hers Fire Snacks at your store today. Whew. Taste the flavor, feel the heat, break out the Hers.
As a community service, WURD Radio and the Black Doctors COVID-19 Consortium wants to keep you informed about where to receive the COVID-19 vaccine. The Black Doctors COVID-19 Consortium offers COVID-19 vaccines and COVID-19 testing at these locations. First come, first served. Saturday, April 24th and Sunday, April 25th from 9 a.m. till 4 p.m. at the Dell Music Center, 2400 Strawberry Mansion Drive. Monday, April 19th from 9 a.m. till 11 a.m. at SEPTA Suburban Station, 16th and JFK Boulevard. Monday, April 19th, Tuesday, April 20th, and Thursday, April 22nd from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. at the Leah Cora Center, 1776 North Broad Street. Stay informed and stay well with WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Spring forward to throwback. All this month, when you start or renew your WURD membership, you'll get exclusive WURD throwback swag, vintage backpacks, books, and tees. While supplies last. Offer ends April 30th. Sow seeds into Black Talk Media and grow with us. Visit wordradio.com/join now to start or renew today.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on wordradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. If you are just joining us, the male and female version of black people, just blackity blackness, we're talking together. Attorney Michael Cord and I are having a conversation about not just Jackie Robinson and the death of the Negro Baseball League, the Negro League, once he made it into the Major League Baseball in 1947, but we're going to drop off of that and go into now the Derek Chauvin trial because they're into closing arguments. They're sending it to the jury, and you know the National Guard is coming into all the different states. I don't know what they're going to do around the world because people are protesting around the world. Tell us what we are to expect, Michael, and what are we not to expect.
And that's a great way to frame it. What are we to expect and not to expect? Let me start from the beginning very quickly. 20 seconds explaining how we got to where we are. In any criminal trial, you first start off with jury selection. Bring about 40 people in the room. Lawyers go back and forth. Pick 12 jurors, 2 alternates. In this case, as in many profile cases, you have more than 2. You have maybe 2 or 3. But generally, 12 jurors, 2 alternates. That's jury selection. Then you go into opening statements. That's when the prosecution gets up, tells the jury what the evidence is going to prove. The defense gets up, tells the jury what the evidence is going to prove. That ends opening statement. Then you go into the prosecution case in chief. That means the prosecution calls all of his or her witnesses. Let's say there are 10 of them. Prosecutor will call the first witness, and that's called direct examination. Defense attorney gets up and does cross-examination. Once that's over, witness 1 leaves. Second witness comes in. Direct examination by the prosecutor, cross-examination by the defense attorney, second witness leaves until the final witness is done. That's called the prosecution case in chief. Once the prosecution finishes, prosecution gets them to say, Your Honor, the prosecution rests. That's it. Now the defense gets up and argues some. Many people think defense then starts his or her case. No, the defense gets up and argues something called a judgment of acquittal. That means, hey, judge, before I even call my first witness, I want you to throw this case out. Judge will say, why? You say, Your Honor, my client is charged with, for example, in this case, my client is charged with second-degree murder. And for second-degree murder, they have to show that what my client did was an unintentional act that led to a death. But that unintentional act has to be a felony. I'm going to get to that later. So the defense attorney would get up and say, Your Honor, what my client did, he simply pushed George Floyd. And when he pushed George Floyd was drunk, stumbled back, hit his head on the curb, and died. So my client just pushed him. He didn't beat him down. So based on that, Judge, I shouldn't even have to put on the case. I'm asking you to acquit my client because the evidence from the DA was so weak, you should throw it out. Well, the lawyer for Derek Chauvin didn't have that argument to make. He made some basic argument that meant nothing. The judge immediately denied it, as the lawyer knew. So now, once the prosecution rests, the defense lawyer made that judgment of acquittal argument and lost. Now, the defense puts on his case. And let's say the defense has 10 witnesses. Defense will call the first witness, do direct examination. Prosecutor will get up and do cross-examination. That defense witness leaves. Second witness, defense attorney would do direct examination. Prosecutor do cross-examination. That witness leaves. And then at the very end, the defense would say defense rests. The question in this case is, before the defense rests, should Derek Chauvin have been called to the stand? The answer is no, 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 no. Why? Because he would have incriminated himself. He'd have to answer some very difficult questions. So any lawyer, a first-year law school graduate, would not have put Derek Chauvin on, because on the one hand, you wanted to know from Derek Chauvin why he thought what he did was reasonable. But it was so blatantly unreasonable, it's nothing he could have said. So
right.
And one of the things that many people saw, they saw the defense attorney question his client in front of the judge. The jury was not in the room, but you have the defense attorney say, hey, Mr. Chauvin, I'm Joe Blow. I'm your attorney. I'm about to rest my case. Before I do that, you got to tell the judge that you're ready for me to rest the case. You don't want me to call you as a witness. And the defendant has to tell the judge, that's right, I'm not testifying, I don't want to testify, and nobody can force me to testify. And the reason why defense lawyers have to do that is because I've seen it in my career. If you don't put your client on the stand and the jury finds him or her guilty, they'll file an appeal with another lawyer later saying you didn't give them a chance to talk.
Right.
So that's why they do that. So after that's done, defense rests, and then there's something called a charging session. This is something WRD audience will know about, but the public doesn't. That's when the judge takes the two attorneys in the back and say, hey, we got 3 charges. I want to tell the jury X, Y, and Z. This is what I'm going to tell the jury. Hey, Michael Cord, as defense attorney, do you agree I should say it like this? I say yes. Hey, prosecutor, you agree? And we're in the back figuring out exactly what we agree to that the judge should tell the jury. Once we agree with that, now we go out, and different states have different rules. In Minnesota, the prosecution goes first with its closing argument, then the defense goes with its closing argument, but the prosecution has a second bite at the apple. That in Pennsylvania is different. In Pennsylvania, the defense goes first, the prosecution goes last, and that's it. But in many states, prosecution first, then the defense and prosecution comes back. And I was able to watch some of the case today, and I got to say, even though the prosecutor wasn't dramatic and dynamic, he didn't have to be.
Right.
He just laid out the facts.
The facts, yep.
I wanted to see a Johnny Cochran kind of flamboyant thing, but you didn't need that. So he did a great job. I got to admit, he covered all the bases. And I saw a little bit of the defense attorney closing, and he did something you should never do in closing argument. You should never lay a trap for yourself. You should never say something so crazy that when the prosecution comes up for the last comment, he's going to blow you up with that. So I don't know why he said that. You know, if the defense felt that he was going to have the last word, say something crazy, sit down. But knowing that the prosecutor is going to come back, why he would say that, I don't know. But here's the reason why he would say it. Because the defense attorney, I got to give him credit. He's methodical. He's doing what he's supposed to do. I don't like him because I don't think any attorney should represent anybody who promotes genocide. And that's exactly, not only promotes genocide, but when you see them do it. Because very rarely does a defense attorney have eyewitness evidence through video as to what his or her client did, but you saw what he did. But anyway, my point is, even though he's methodical and covering all his bases, my thing is that in certain cases, yeah, you can get some other attorney, but you won't get me. So having said that, now they do their closing argument. The judge instructs the jury. The judge tells the jury what the law is on second degree. In fact, very quickly, 3 charges. The first charge is second-degree murder. And the prosecutor did a great job talking about that because second-degree murder in Minnesota is basically this. You commit a felony, and while committing that felony, you unintentionally kill somebody. So if I walk in the bank to rob the bank and I pull out a gun and a security guard has a heart attack and dies, I never shot him, but I was committing a felony and he died doing that felony. That's second-degree murder. Right. And what I did wasn't intentional. I wasn't trying to kill that security guard. That prosecutor did an excellent job by saying that what Chauvin did does not have to be intentional in order for him to be guilty of second-degree murder. If you and the jury agree that he was committing a felony, strangling somebody with his knee for 10 minutes, and somebody died doing that, that's all we need.
That's right.
So he laid that out well. Anyway, I got much more to say, but it's your show. Let you get a word in there.
Listen, you're doing a good job. Someone says, good afternoon. I love this wealth of knowledge. How did the prosecution decide to not call Floyd's co-workers to the stand? Floyd and Chauvin have had to have interacted at the club where they worked.
Very good question. The answer is relevancy. Relevancy is a legal term where people say something is relevant or irrelevant. What's the definition? It's very easy. Something is relevant if it tends to show you're guilty or not guilty. So whether Chauvin and Floyd knew each other 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 5 weeks ago, whether they hate each other or loved each other, that's totally irrelevant because they could have had a fist fight the day before and Chauvin could be not guilty.
Right.
They could have had no contact whatsoever before and Chauvin be guilty. So it's not so much about what happened before, it's what happened during. Remember the charges. The lead charges, you're committing a felony and somebody dies. It's not you previously committed a felony and now somebody dies. It's you're doing it now. And very quickly, and I love that question. So that's the first charge, second-degree murder. You're committing a felony, somebody dies, even if you don't intend to kill him. The good news is that that's a 40-year sentence. The bad news is that 40 years is just the max. Right. Somebody like Chauvin with no criminal record, he could wind up doing only 8 to 10 years. So the maximum is 40 years. But with no criminal record, he can walk away from this with 8 to 10 years if he's found guilty. Very quickly, the next charge is the charge of third-degree murder. So we had second-degree murder, that's the 40 years, felony murder rule. Then you got the next charge, which is third-degree murder. That means while you're doing something so crazy, so out of control, somebody dies. So in this case, if you got your neck on somebody's knee for about 10 minutes, then yeah, that's what we lawyers call an eminently dangerous act. So that would be third-degree murder. The problem with that is, on the good side, that carries a sentence of about 25 years, 25-year maximum. But with no prior criminal record, you can wind up doing 5 to 7 years and get out. That's third-degree murder. And the final charge is second-degree manslaughter. The first was second-degree murder. The second was third-degree murder. And now the final jumps to manslaughter. Manslaughter basically means, and this charge shouldn't have even been applied. The third-degree manslaughter means you're doing something that's reckless and you, through negligence, kill somebody. For example, I'm in the studio with you. I'm playing with the gun. You're saying, Michael, put the gun down. I keep playing with it. I drop the gun. It discharges and hits the engineer. Well, I wasn't trying to hurt anybody, but it was so reckless. I don't even know why they included that charge because what Chauvin did was on purpose. He didn't stumble into George Floyd. So those are the 3 charges. That's what the judge is going to instruct them on, and he should be found guilty of all. And I hope the judge gives him the maximum 40 years, not a mandatory 40 years, it's a maximum 40 years.
Yeah, man, I'm so, listen, we need our own show.
We do, we really do. Let's talk to the management. We really do, because every time I talk to you, I'm like, damn, we just started.
Yeah.
And it just seems like we've been talking for 5 minutes and we've been talking for 35.
Yep. That's because we're synergistic, right? Our brains.
Amen. Amen.
So I want to thank you and invite you to come back, because when
the answer is yes.
When they come to an agreement about when they decide what the
the verdict. Yep.
I need you to come back. Can you do that for me?
The answer is yes, absolutely, positively, no doubt about it.
My brother, thank you.
And big shout out to Brianna. She communicated with me early, got me all set up, so I got to give her credit. In fact, the entire staff at WURD. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're quite welcome, Michael Corey. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye. Now, see, I love smart people. My husband will tell you, I love smart people. I could talk to him all day. I'm going to take Vinny when I come back, and then bring the next guest into the waiting room, Michael. So give me until we get off the commercial, and then I'll take Vinny. and then I will take our next guest. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Hi, this is John.
Hi, this is Juanita, owners of JD's Auto Body and Painting. We're located at 6300 Wayne Avenue, right there at the intersection of Wayne and Washington Lane.
We really like to thank all you WURD listeners for the support that you've given our business, and we really hope to see you in the future.
JD, tell them about our products and services we have.
We have a new state-of-the-art paint shop along with our body shop and detail shop. We can help you with the dents and scratches from the winter season.
Come to JD's Auto Body and Painting. Come on out and check us out. We're still honoring that WURD 10% discount. Give us a call, 215-848-5949. Again, 215-848-5949.
Thanks again for supporting our business. We really appreciate you.
See you at JD's Auto Body and Painting.
The Mattress Man is a second-generation family-owned mattress specialist business since 1988. Open 7 days a week, located at 7421 Stenton Avenue. The Mattress Man discounts Serta, memory foam, orthopedic, and ComfortTech mattresses every day. You deal directly with the owner, Julian, to ensure you get the best price and best service. The Mattress Man offers same-day delivery on most models to most areas. Ask about the WURD discount. Call 215-424-5550.
Richard Allen Preparatory Charter School is proud to be celebrating 20 years serving Philadelphia students. We are a public charter school serving grades 5 through 8 and located in Southwest Philadelphia. We are committed to serving the entire child and are dedicated to preparing children to be successful in school and in life. We are now accepting students in 5th grade and taking waiting list applications in other grades. Apply at www.applyphillycharter.org. You have a right to choose. Choose greatness. Choose Richard Allen.
The Black Words Book Club. WURD Radio's monthly conversation on books that explore the African American experience through social, economic, and environmental justice issues. Tune in the second Tuesday of every month on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. The next book for May is Living in Color by Tommy Davidson. Be sure to listen live as Nick Taliaferro will hold a contest for a giveaway book bundle that consists of 4 titles from Kensington's Defina's Authors of Color's newest release. Don't miss it. Tuesday, May 11th on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Attention for WURD members. Get your copy and receive a 20% discount when you purchase at Harriet's Bookstore or Hakeem's Bookstore. For more information on the Black Words Book Club, visit WURDradio.com. The Black Words Book Club is sponsored by Defina. Defina is an imprint of Kensington Publishing Corporation, America's independent publisher, concentrating on authors of color. Lifting every voice till earth and heaven ring. This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Black Talk Media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Before I take my final guest for today and Vinny, I need to let you know about this media alert. African American Charter School Coalition calls for a moratorium on closing black-led schools. The African American Charter School Coalition plans to hold a press conference Tuesday at 10:30 to discuss the school district of Philadelphia's targeting yet 2 more black-founded and led schools to close down, Universal Bluford and Universal Daroff. AASC will call for a moratorium on closing black-funded and led schools until an investigation into the systemic racism in the district is completed. 87% of the schools closed in the last 10 years were minority-founded and led. This is confirmed by the district's own data. AASC will provide a media kit that contains the necessary data to back its call for the moratorium. So, Vinny, how are you? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome, sir.
Did you see the closing argument for the prosecution?
I did. I saw some of it before I had to come on the air. Yes, sir.
I'm just totally underwhelmed by his closing. You know, I was a juror before, and as a juror, you really rely on that closing argument from both sides. And I just thought he was really lackluster. and he really didn't drive it home. He was very, I just wanted just something more from him, and I think that if this case is lost, and by lost I mean if Chauvin gets off, I think it's going to be because of that. I think they should have put the African American gentleman up, who I think he opened, if I remember correctly, and I felt he would have been a good person to tie it all together and give the jury that kind of movie moment. Because believe it or not, I just always felt like jurors want that movie moment, that Johnny Cochran glove moment, that's something that they can pull away, walk away with, and take into the jury deliberation. And I just thought he was real robotic. You would have thought the way he presented that it was like it was just lackluster,
So Vinny, I watched him and I thought he was dry as toast. But Michael Court said the same thing. He said he wanted him to be more effervescent, but he was actually practically very good. Like he touched every argument that he was supposed to touch. But I understand. I absolutely understand. Thank you so much for calling, sir.
No problem. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. Let me get to my next guest. Thank you so much. How do you pronounce your last name? Navoa?
Yes.
There you go. All right. Always want to make sure. All right. So let's get this going, shall we? Yolanda Navoa is a Philadelphia native, Latina African-American psychotherapist who is certified in prolonged exposure therapist for PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. She is also a social media motivational speaker and life coach. Well. Good afternoon, Miss Navoa. How are you?
I am fine, thank you. How are you?
I am so good.
Please let me say thank you for inviting me on your show. I am humbly honored. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. So my ultimate goal is to make sure that every person that is interviewed on this show walk away feeling not only empowered, but that they were empowering to the people that listen to them. And so in that vein, this will be one of the easiest interviews you've ever had. so welcome. You're perfectly on time, right? So much is going on. When you talk about post-traumatic stress disorder, oftentimes people think about the Army, like going to war, right? Explain what that means in modern times for those of us who are living everyday lives.
Post-traumatic stress comes in so many levels. No, you don't have to be, Andrea, coming from Vietnam, coming from any present war, because it's war on our streets. It's war on our streets with the violence. This COVID pandemic has taken so many of our loved ones day to day. It's like you go in to walk them in and you come out with them in a coffin. That's trauma within itself. That's trauma big time, and what we do, we suppress it and say, I'm okay, or I'm just feeling a little down. Yeah. No, it's way, way bigger than that.
Yeah. You talked about, someone going I've had friends go into the hospital for back pain and come out in a body bag, right? And I've had a friend that just recently died, and I'm telling you, it was a mayor of a town, because I do this work nationally, right? So the mayor of a town reached out to me and said, you need someone different from a regular therapist, because I see and hear so much of this stuff all the time. You're going to need someone who is so trauma informed that they can fully understand where you're coming from. And I get you. I absolutely get you, Ms. Navoa. So much is happening around us. Give us an example of what in your own personal story, if you can, what trauma, PTSD looked like for you.
Well, within my own personal story, I just lost my husband to COVID June the 3rd, 2020. He walked into the hospital having all of the symptoms. Yes, we did believe that it was COVID. However, 2 months process of him being in there, not thinking for one moment that instead of planning a homecoming, we were going to be planning a funeral. Right. It was devastating. I have lost a son to street violence, and that's traumatic. However, you don't suppress the feelings, you walk along with them, but it's trauma just seeing the little babies go to the store, and then you're hearing the police running down the street saying, oh, okay, the baby got shot. This trauma, just, living in your community. And, we talk the talk, but we got to walk the walk, Andrea.
I agree.
We got to walk the walk. And if the people that's supposed to be there are not doing their job, we need to move them out. Because trauma is something that if you're not able to tell your narrative, it's a suppressed thing. And that causes all kind of unhealthy medical issues.
Right.
People are walking around diabetic, hypertension. A lot of this is from possibly childhood trauma, but everyone always say, oh, it's childhood trauma. It's adult trauma.
And so what advice do you have for people how to navigate around trauma? Or navigate through trauma. You can't navigate around it. You have to navigate through trauma. So what advice do you have for folks? Because oftentimes it's so funny. When my friend Leah died, I wanted to not get on the air. And just thinking about it makes me teary. But being able to come on the air and just walk through it, I cried like a baby, right? To the point where we had a memorial for her this past Saturday, I didn't cry at all. Because I was able to walk through my trauma. I was able to say exactly how I was feeling. I was able to say I'm not okay. I was able to, and people started showing up at my door with dinners and whatever else to make sure. My husband was so worried to pieces. But I think that was better, and tell me if I'm wrong, I think it was better for me to do that versus stuffing it down and pretending like nothing happened.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you. That's telling your narrative. It's very important to let it out instead of holding it in, because holding it in is suppression. It's like, my advice is like, I tell my personal clients, I tell people that's on my platform, journaling is major. Because here's the deal. If you journal today on a Monday, 4/19, and go back next week, and then what you do is measure the frequency and say, okay, what was the duration? How was I feeling that day? I tell them, hey, open the curtain. Let some vitamin D come in. Because if you're in a dark place, you don't want to stay in a dark environment. I tell them, listen, walking, for me, self-disposing, I love to walk. I hike, I go up to the trail, Wissahickon Trail.
Oh, guess what? I am there every Sunday morning hiking.
Well, I hope to see you because that's why.
But I go up into the trails. I go up. I don't stay on the regular pathway.
And listen, that exercising allows you to alleviate some of the emotional pain. I say, if you're creative, watercoloring is good. Then I tell everyone that if you have a medical insurance, look on the back of the card. There's a member service. You can be able to talk to someone to help you walk through it. Because in different cultures, Andrea, it's taboo. Don't go to the therapist. What stays in here, stays in here. Oh, no. Because that's making you worse. That's making you feel ill. You have to be able to be empowered and be resilient and say, you know what, I'm taking charge of my life. Okay? To me.
One of the things that I tell people all the time, because not everybody wants to walk, but I say to them, go stand up outside in the sun. You don't have to go stand up outside in the sun and let the vitamin D slap you in your face. You'd be surprised how much better you would feel, right?
I agree with you, Andrea. Yes. I tell people, first of all, you want to make sure that they're physically able to walk. So I'm like, listen, check with your primary. If your primary gives you the permission to say, yes, you're up for walking, but if not, open the door, smell the air, open the window, but you got to step out of that comfort zone that you have allowed yourself in. I say, do not isolate. You need a support system. You need a village, okay? I don't care if it's the people next door or if it's the people around the corner. It's a village and we need to pull together on that rope. Okay. And if I can't pull, hey, grab my hand.
Yes.
And help me get there. Say, I got you, but mean it. And help me get there. Because it takes all of us. You know, I need to give you hope. And I need to have hope for today, for tomorrow, for the future. But it takes all of us.
Agreed.
To come together.
I was talking about this at the beginning of the show, that the National Cares Mentoring Movement, spearheaded by Susan L. Taylor, had a 4-hour thing called Healing What Harms Us. And Dr. Benga, who started the Kwanzaa movement, was just talking about the very things that you're talking about, right? So I tell people all the time, my husband is one of the most important thing to me next to my 2 sons. And if anything happened to him, I don't know what I would do. And so in that vein, when friends of mine are saying, well, their husbands are sick or whatever, it for me, it's like the simplest thing other than praying is to text them every single day and say, what can I do for you today? Because people don't realize how important that is, right? It's not enough to just say, I'm praying, right? But what can I come and sit with you?
Yes.
Can I come and bring you a meal, a sandwich, something we can do for the children? Yes. For us, it's the, you know, and you don't have to know the person. The village is really, you're right, Yolanda. It's knowing the neighbor next door. Can you take my trash out for me? I'm not doing so well today. You know, doing something other than, you know, sitting at home, because depression is something we don't talk about in our communities at all. At all. And the other thing we don't talk about is the family illness, the family-related illnesses. So the Jamaicans, we were just talking about this yesterday while we were hiking up in the Wisconsin Trail. She said, one of my friends says, she's Jamaican. She says, I asked my father, well, how did such and such die? Well, you know, a touch of something. We're so private, not just mental health issues. We're private about the physical things too.
And, you know, can I piggyback off of what you said? Everything you said is like right on target. You know, there was a time that we sat with our children and we had dinner together as a family. We talked. How are you? What was your day? Tell me what you did in your class. I want to know. Because that lack of dialogue, that lack of communication, you know, here's the deal. You have to be present, but you have to be present and know what's present around you. You know, you have to, in order to take your community back, first you have to be present within yourself, you know, and then you have to want the help. You can't just get the help, you have to want the help. You have to say, okay, I'm a woman, I have pain, I cry. I'm just like the next person. It's not like, oh, she's strong, she's a survivor. You know, ask your neighbor, hey, you know, you've been living over there, I never asked you your name. You know, hey, how you feeling today? Because some things are nonverbal.
Yes.
But if you do an assessment of yourself, you can do an assessment of your neighbor, and your neighbor, what you want for yourself, you're supposed to want for your neighbor.
Yes.
You know, there's so many levels of trauma, whether it's loss and grief, whether it's anxiety, separation could be from a pet, it could be from a long lost family member, it could be a neighbor. You know, this trauma that's happening on our streets today affects everybody. Everybody. So, you know, I'm like, it affects you when you say that it doesn't. Because you are a part of the village, you are a part of the community, whether you choose to get involved or you don't.
Right. What role do you play in all of this? I mean, you're a social media sensation, you're a motivational speaker. What role do you play in all of this?
I play the part of the village to give back to the community, to sustain the community, to give someone else hope, to show them that they can be empowered, they are resilient, that they have a toolbox. They may need to dig down in the toolbox and continue to move forward. You can grieve, but you can grieve in a healthy way of healing. You know, you don't have to just fall apart and say the world, and no, the world is still going on. COVID is still going to be here. But how do you manage it instead of it managing you? So if I can just be a voice to give back and to help sustain the community, not just the community that I live in, but the community at large. I feel like that's more than doing my job. So I think the role that I play is giving back what I've learned, and we can collaborate together. And if it can help you, then maybe you can help someone else.
All right. So then my final question for you is, how can people reach you?
They can reach me by, I am on YouTube under Yolanda Novoa. I am on Instagram under Let's Talk with Yolanda. I am on Facebook with Yolanda Novoa. And my number that I can be reached is 267-574-4632.
So 267-574-4632.
Yes.
Instagram, it's Let's Talk with Yolanda, right? And on Facebook, it's Yolanda Novoa.
Yes, and I'm on YouTube under Yolanda Novoa. And if they would like to just come in and, you know, it's a collaboration, you know, it's a support network. And if they would like to come in, if they would like to leave a comment, or if they need to call me, they can call me at 267-574-4632.
Yolanda Novoa, it was such a pleasure.
It's more than a pleasure. I am humbled, and I thank you so much.
You're so welcome, and hopefully I'll run into you on the Wissahickon Trail. I'm usually the one that has a bunch of people following going, we're going to do what?
No problem. I look forward to it.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, you're so welcome. Have a good afternoon, okay?
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, my Lord. It has been such a day. If this is the first time you see me in my Good Trouble sweatshirt, it's not because I wanted to wear my Good Trouble sweatshirt. It's just been a day and a half. My bicycle blew a black tire this morning, and so I've been in meeting after meeting after meeting, working on a few things, and by the time I looked up, it was time for my radio show, and listen, you gets me. This is no makeup, no anything on, and my Good Trouble sweatshirt. You know, let me know what you're thinking about that's going on around in Philadelphia and in the country. 215-634-8065. I'm going to read some news articles, but I really love talking to all of you. I really, really do. Call me and let me know where your head is as we come close to the end of this trial with Derek Chauvin. Let me know what you're thinking around the healing of our people. Let me know how you can support each other in your neighborhood, one person at a time. Let me know what your thoughts are, because too often we ignore people. The other thing that Dr. Karenga talks about is how we chase whiteness, and we chase the fancy cars and the big houses and all those other things, and really we should be chasing loving on one another. Michael just sent me oh Lord, brother, spread love. Hold on one second. Let me take a quick break and then I'll get to you, okay? You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
COVID vaccines are here, and Black physicians and scientists help to develop them. So I feel good about getting the vaccine. And with new forms of the virus now spreading, I know we need to keep up everything we're already doing. Masking up, keeping that 6-foot distance, and avoiding crowds. COVID's been doubly tough on us, so let's double down to take it down. We can do this. Learn more about getting the vaccine and slowing the spread at cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Recovery starts with a call. Pennsylvania's Substance Use Disorder Hotline is staffed by real people who are trained to help. They're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They'll get you or your loved one into treatment regardless of your access to insurance. If you or someone you know is suffering from addiction, call 1-800-662-HELP. Recovery starts with a call.
paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Hello, this is Councilmember Isaiah Thomas urging you to vote for Judge John Padova on May 18th to keep this distinguished judge on the Court of Common Pleas. In addition to myself, he is also supported by State Senator Tony Williams, as well as State Senator Vincent Hughes, Representatives Joanne McClinton and Jordan Harris, as well as former Governor Ed Rendell and many others. Judge Padova is highly recommended by the Bar Association and endorsed by the Black clergy, as well as a lot of our local unions. For fairness, equity, and compassion, vote Judge Padova for all Philadelphians.
This is Judge Padova, and I approve this message.
Want the latest in Word swag? Check out the shop tab on WordRadio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on WordRadio.com. Show the world that you're all about Black. Talk Media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WordRadio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Heaven help the child who never had a home. Heaven help the girl who walks the streets alone. Heaven help the roses if the bombs begin to fall. Heaven help us all. Heaven help the black man if he struggles one more day. Heaven help the white man if he turns his back away. Heaven help the man who kicks the man who has to crawl. Heaven help us all. Heaven help us all. Heaven help us all. Help us all. Heaven help us, Lord, hear our call. When we Heaven help the boy who won't reach 21.
Woo! I love these songs. Thank you all. Thank you so much, Michael. This is helping me because I feel like we're coming up on some tension in this country and around the globe between everything that's happening with this trial, and that so many other things are going on. Police commissioners are under fire. Police commissioners are trying to do the best that they can in the departments that they're working with around the country. I have been having dialogues with them around the country, not just in Philadelphia. People are going through it, right? And they know who the bad seeds are in their police departments and are now working systemically to start removing some of those bad seeds, because the other side of that is not going to be a good thing. We can't continue to go on this pattern. So, Brother Spread Love, how are you?
God bless it, John of love.
How you doing, my brother?
Give John a glory, Mama. Manners and respect. How are you today?
Medea and Amadea. I'm here. How you doing?
All right. So say Irie, you know?
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, and give thanks for your work and everything, you know? Straight.
Oh.
A reality. No joke business. And John bless, I'm a guy talk Yankee so these people understand what I mean. Straight up. Well, you want to know one thing really true? Supposed to be in relay this week, right? And you know,
yes,
see it
relays, yes.
You know, year to year, the Stone Love and the pure bashment. And but listen, now, really true. I never touched Stone Love from since they left West Philadelphia.
Yeah.
But I eat me this, you know, Roy coming from the turntable. Let me tell you, I know. But it gone from Stone Love year to year. All right. I know you would like that. Yes. Oh, you want another one?
No, because I got like 5 other people I got to talk to, Brother Spread Love. What's going on, man?
Love and hate can never be friends.
That's right.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Here I come, spread love. All right, listen, Mama. First, I got to say thank you. Thank the WRD family. Brother Mike on the boards, always doing an amazing job, especially with the Stevie Wonder. Right?
Yes.
Everyone going through it. Everyone suffering. Our hearts are with them. Everyone working to make it better. May we do it together. And especially everyone incarcerated falsely. Free Mumia.
Yes, my brother. All right, talk to you soon, okay?
Wait, hold on. I got something really I want to say. One more thank you. I wanted to thank you for bringing a lady you want to deal with mental health, because mental health, our behavioral and mental health issues is something very important to heal in our society. Reason being, healing your body is like having a car, fixing the engine. Healing your mind is making sure your steering wheel go where you want it to go.
Yes.
And that's very important for us. We suffer a lot of deep-seated intergenerational, as the brother Woody brings up, epigenetic, mental and behavioral and mental health issues. But one thing really quick, we got to stop confusing tough and strong. Tough ain't always a good thing. Me could be tough. That ain't good. It's good to be strong. But what's more strong than being brave and talking honestly about what's going on with you and making yourself vulnerable?
Right.
See, a lot of people think being strong means you just keep everything bottled up. That's killing us. And I would encourage everyone to please be safe with all these National Guard and police perched in position to do the same. Jah forbid, let's praise his name. Selassie Jah, Rastafari.
Rastafari, ever living, ever faithful, ever pure. One love, my brother. All right, Jacob from Albany, how are you, my brother?
Hey, peace be unto you, my sister.
Peace be unto you, sir. What's going on?
I was listening to the part where you was talking about the charter schools and them being discriminatory. They only close black charters, right?
Yes, that's what they're saying.
And then the white charters wind up. I don't think they closed one white charter school yet, you know. And it is discriminatory all over, you know. I mean, I'm so tired of us having to apologize for our color, our skin color. Now, you take this trial. I heard people talking about the closing arguments and the this and the that. And then, wait a minute. George Floyd's brother, the first day of that trial started, he said to the news people, we're going to see whether y'all want to give us justice or not, right? At the end of this, so all of that, you know, he should have gave a better argument and all that. We know what we saw on that film, right? He killed George Floyd. Now, all this explaining and theatrical stuff, to me, that's a bunch of BS. We know what we saw. If you want us to start working and respecting your policing, your justice system and everything, this is the time to do it. Show us. Don't talk a bunch of stuff. Show us that you're willing to be more just to us as a people. Right. Because if this guy gets off, this country deserves what it's going to get, right? Yeah. Because, I mean, how could we go around the world with the world watching what they saw and he get off? I mean, God is going to get him. We're not worried about that bum. Right. He's going to get what's coming to him by the one who created heaven and earth. But the fact is that we shouldn't have to work this hard to receive justice. And I'm so sick of us having to apologize for what? Being more American or as much American as any American ever say they was American. I just can't do it no more. I'm sick of it, and we'll see whether they want us to start believing that they want to get more just. We'll see with this verdict.
Yeah.
And
how are you doing, my brother? Because it sounds like emotionally there's so much going on there. How are you planning to deal with this verdict itself, if I may ask?
Well, I'm going to take, we got to take whatever comes, and I would advise people, don't do what I think's going to happen if he gets off. But I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't think that America, period, has the kahunas to let this guy off, right?
Yeah.
I don't believe they got that. And I don't know, they just might have, but I just don't believe it. I'll have to see it to believe it.
Yeah, every lawyer I've spoken to say that he's going to be found guilty of something. What they're concerned about is what that something is. You see what I'm saying?
Well, it should be the most serious charge there. He should be found guilty because it should have been first-degree murder. But, see, we had to take another back seat, and because we know that they don't prosecute white police officers like they do black right there in Minneapolis, the one who shot the white woman, he's serving time, right?
Yes.
Again, man, I don't know what it's going to take, but We ain't going nowhere. We're not gonna, back up. We ain't going nowhere. If we go, we coming back home here. But I'm gonna see. But I don't believe that America got the kahuna to not prosecute this guy to the fullest.
Okay. All right.
But that's the way. But I'm cool. I'm cool. But it's just sickening to see that we got to keep jumping through hoops and I don't know, singing and dancing to get people to understand what we're working with. But I just wanted to throw that in there.
All right. Okie dokie. Thank you for calling in, my brother. It's always a pleasure. All right. Bye-bye. All right. Cliff from Connecticut. How are you, sir?
Let's just get right to the point. Thanks for taking my call. What I am witnessing, what we have to look at is that this is a spiritual battle. This is wickedness and evil against good. We are the chosen people of God, black people, and you have a wicked system. As a matter of fact, let me go further to say that the decision is already made. That's how these people do. So what you're going through right now is just seeing a format. There are these juries. These jurors will go back. It will be a hung jury, meaning that they will not come together. And then from that point, there will be a mistrial. Then the judge will decide whether to try this all over again, which includes new evidence, new trial period in terms of if they want to go that far. And then if not, then the judge has the right to say, listen, we won't try this case anymore. He is not found guilty, nor is he exonerated. And then he will just be let go. So what's going to take place is that you're going to see the people are going to react. And you know what? It won't be church folks that respond and act, because the prayers ain't going to be doing it. It's going to be those people who want to retaliate, just like they did the insurrection on the Capitol. It's going to happen in terms of that's the only language and the only voice that they would hear. Now, in closing, they're, just to give you an idea, they want to prosecute Maxine Waters for just saying something simple in terms of we're going to continue to take it to the street, meaning that we're going to fight for justice. So if you want to prosecute her, but then make excuses for Trump and what he insinuated and what he initiated, that's a double standard, and that's what we're dealing with. These people do not respect black people, the chosen people of God. They want to destroy us. That's just my opinion, but we're going to hope for the best, but expect the worst. Thank you, sister, for taking my call.
Oh, thank you, my brother. Thank you so much. Friendly Fred, are you there?
Yes, Andre. How you doing, honey?
I'm hanging, sir. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm just want to say I think about the good times, the things we used to do, and the places we used to go, and everything was so mellow. It was so nice, and all of the stars were shining bright, and true love we shared. And life has so much to and we used to care for one another. And life has so much to show you. You must be ready for the new, because the best is yet to come. And it's all about love. And by God's grace, there's a promise of love. About faith and trust, there's a rainbow of love. Rainbows in the sky. And the future is as bright as the promises of God. And you got the guiding lights and the guiding stars and the brighter lights. And I look to the light. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, my brother. Have a good one. It's always a pleasure hearing him. He don't call and want nothing else but to just give me some inspiration. All right, George, how are you?
Fine, Andrea. How are you?
I'm good. What's going on?
Good. Well, I hate to. I'm glad to tell you that most of your people been informed, about what was going on. They know they got the memo not to talk about it. You know how everything go. The mayor and have his minions and his flunkies call around. Don't talk about this and don't talk about that. But
Wait. What are you talking about, George?
I'm talking about your commissioner demoted the only black chief inspector male that we had in this whole city. That's the thing. She demoted him, and for some, I think it was real small, petty incident. Here go a guy got a clean record. But she had to go up Caroline Road because they're all mad because, Ramsey had mostly a white squad. His people that was, when Ramsey came in, he was the one changed the thing that you had to have college, you had to have military background, all this crazy stuff. Well, all those guys that got in now has moved up through the ranks, and a lot of them, McNesby and a lot of other ones are mad that these particular guys are not getting a shot. So therefore, you have a lot of black African-Americans who could be moving up through the ranks. She's either demoting them or stifling their growth. Not only her underlings, which is black women, who feel as though they were abused or had to do things to get to where they had to get. It's a real ugly situation, but you're the first one to hear it, and she should come on your show, you know, without all that preempt foolishness that she do, and explain why would she demote the only African-American male that we have in the whole city, and that's been for a long time we haven't had it. You know, she does a lot. People are going to find out that she has a real white card. You know, she don't have black men's interest, you know, and all this stuff about a riot's going to break out. Andrea, ride around the city, and you'll see that when the last riot we had, the pandemic hit. So these stores have never opened. They boarded them up. So all this stuff here, this here is a PR stunt. Believe me, it's the best PR thing could ever happen for an elected official to say, see, we had everything under control. It doesn't matter. In every city, there's nothing to tear up. So what are they going to tear up? And then people have told the other ones, why would you tear up your neighborhood? So they have finally caught on to that. So all this PR stuff here about all this stuff going to happen, and that guy, Kavanaugh, that cop, he already know that he's the sacrificial lamb. He's going to do about maybe between 5 and 7 years. He'll come out. He'll be well taken care of because he's taking the shot. He's taking a hit with all the FOP across the country. All people have to do is just think and look at what's really going on and stop being, you know, emotional. I have a friend of mine long time ago told me emotion without intellect is never a good thing. And I never forgot that.
No, yeah, it's called I over E, intellect over emotion.
That's what it is.
It is the key thing for people who actually make it in this life, right? We don't get all torn up about the foolishness, and we're very strategic about how we respond to everything that happens around us. And an intellectually emotional person will not let the right hand know what the left hand is doing ever.
And you know what? You're the first person I've seen explain that just as well, if not better than I. But Andrea, I'm glad you're back because, believe me, the city hall silence people in this city, and they know better. When I say they better not say nothing, you ever hear anybody say anything? If I say you better not talk about people, they don't do it. Just like they talk about these judges. These judges have the worst behavior, but you dare not, since Mary Mason, you have never heard a host talk about a judge, how bad they are, how reckless they are, how inconsiderate they are. You know, a DA's judges. Certain things and certain people in this city you're not permitted to talk about. And if you do, believe me, they got ways of punishing you, you know. But the greatest thing is when they punish, always somebody's bigger than them that can punish them. You know, like they're the bully. The city's the bully. But it's always somebody who can bully the bully. And I know their boss. So when they start that bullying, they boss bully them in front of everybody and embarrass them. So, Andrea, you keep up the good work that you're doing in exposing these clowns that needs to be exposed. And I know them sending you a memo telling you what not to say and what to say will make you even say it quicker and better.
They leave me alone. They leave me alone, George. They don't quite know what to do with me. They leave me alone. But thank you, my brother.
No, they have meetings, and you know who all have meetings about you trying to figure out a way to silence you. But they haven't figured that out. But then when they can get in touch with God and ask God, can you silence her? Then God will silence them. See, that's the difference in you and them because you do everything from the heart and you believe in what's right. You only do what's right. The rest of them do whatever they're told because of that yin-yang. You know, they don't want that yin-yang to stop. So they got to, once you take that first yin-yang, you got to keep taking it. You know, it's like a poison pill. If you stop taking it, you're going to drop dead. So you got a lot of people in this city that, I mean, you got to hand it to them. The mayor owns those Negroes. There's a special group of Negroes in the city's job is to hold other black people back. And you always watch these clowns who always praising and jumping up and down for certain people in this city because they're the people who are getting a little something to keep you from getting anything. And if they keep on with this butt kissing and lacking and laughing when it ain't funny and scratching when it don't itch, I'm going to start exposing them. You know, plain and simple as that. Remember,
so George, thank you, my brother. So I got to take a break, man. Can you call me back tomorrow? Because you gave us a whole earful today. Jesus be
Have a good one.
I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye. I know I have one more caller on the line. I'm going to give me a second. Let me take a quick break, and then we'll be right back. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
At Bank of America, we believe in the power of collaboration to create jobs and fuel economic opportunity. That's why we're working with local organizations to help people get the skills they need and build a growing pipeline of talent.
I'm Jim Dever, Bank of America Greater Philadelphia Market President. Our partnership with Philadelphia Youth Network is just one way we're taking action to help more members of our community. What would you like the power to do?
Bank of America N.A. member FDIC, Equal Credit Opportunity Lender.
Looking for an exciting and well-paying new career opportunity? MCAP is a free manufacturing career accelerator program. In just 7 weeks, learn new career skills, earn industry certifications, and connect to manufacturing companies who are hiring. To see if MCAP is right for you, call 215-770-7101. That's 215-770-7101. MCAP is brought to you by Drexel University's Goodwin College of Professional Studies in partnership with EDSI Incorporated. MCAP is an equal opportunity program. Diverse candidates, including women and people of color, are strongly encouraged to apply.
Join WURD Radio CEO Sarah Lomax-Reese on Wednesday, April 21st at 1 p.m. for a special virtual broadcast in celebration of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Month. Sarah will be leading a conversation with African American C-suite executives, exploring the challenges and opportunities of creating real diversity, equity, and inclusion in corporate America. Panelists include Delilah Wilson Scott, Chief Diversity Officer at Comcast and President of the Comcast Foundation, Michael Rashid, Commerce Director for the City of Philadelphia, and Ramona Risco Benson, Director of Corporate and Community Relations at PICO. Tune in Wednesday, April 21st at 1 p.m. for this important conversation. For more information, visit WURDradio.com and click on the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Month banner. Brought to you by Comcast, Bank of America, PICO, Thomas Jefferson University, and Jefferson Health.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to the final segment of this show. If you're just joining us and you missed a plethora of information, Michelle Neal, who is co-chair of Team Jamaica Bickle, is talking about Caribbean Restaurant Week. You want to go to www.tjbphilly.org to learn where all the restaurants are across the city of Philadelphia, where you can support them from April 17th to the 24th. I am going to the Talk of the Town later on to support them because they've done amazing things. And so then I had Mr. Kelvin A. Jeremiah, President and CEO of the Philadelphia Housing Authority, where they had a partnership. They have a partnership with Temple, and they're vaccinating the residents of the Housing Authority. I thought that was such a good thing for them to do, that a woman who was 101 years old actually came downstairs and got her vaccine because she was so afraid of going out to get it done. So this is what I'm talking about. Community work in action, right? Then we talked about, who else did I interview today? Today was good. Oh, and then I had the smartest Negro in America, Michael Cord. I love him. You know, the smartest black man. Let me not call him a Negro. The smartest black man, well, other than my husband. I love smart people, and Michael Cord really, he makes all my pistons fly because he's thoughtful, he thinks about what he's thinking through, and he gives you reasoning and great argument around everything that he talks about. We talked about the Derek Chauvin trial, and we talked about a little bit more in depth about Jackie Robinson. And then I had Yolanda Novoa, who talked about, you know, post-traumatic stress disorder and what that looks like in our black and brown communities. And she gave us some great tips. Go stand out in the sun, take a walk, you know, talk to your neighbor, let somebody know that you're not feeling well, do watercoloring, journaling, those kinds of things. I am hoping that these guests are able to help you as we're moving forward, because we're getting ready to have a verdict in a trial in another day or so. Might happen today, might happen tomorrow. I am asking you all to create love in action and make sure that you're all okay. And so now I am going to take quickly Keith from Nappy Styles. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm blessed, and I just want to change up the pace a little bit. I have to tell you, because of your interview, we're out of Brave products. And so I haven't been able to see the stores you recommended. because I haven't been able to see them because, I saw Visions in Art and Soul because I don't have the braid sprays, and Gwen is sending them. But Gwen told me to call you. I've been trying to get you. She wants to send you a special package. Where can
I just tell you? Can I tell you something? This is love in action right here, right? I've been so supportive of Black-owned businesses. You can leave your phone number with Michael, and I'll give it to you. I've been supporting Black-owned businesses for as long as I can remember. Let me tell you a true story. You ready for this, Keith?
Yes, I am. Go ahead.
About 2 years ago, I was at Uncle Bobby's and decided to go visit this place that everybody's been talking about called Yardane's Cultural, and I walk in and I see this beautiful place just set up, all these body butters. I pulled out my camera, turned on my video, and in a minute did this incredible video of who these people are. I'd never met them before, right? 3.2 million hits later, Keith. 3.2 million. Listen, they opened up one in Maryland and one in Atlanta just from that one video. They had so many people showing up at their stores. And this is what I'm saying. We can support each other. They made multi-millions of dollars off of one video. And they've been around for years, right? And so I'm just telling you, we can do this. So when you come on and we talk about the hair care products, and I literally need to order some from this sister, right? That you were telling, but you said you ran out. You ran out?
I ran out, but she's going to send you a package. She has a special package for you.
Tell her it was my absolute pleasure.
Yeah, but, and again, I want to say what I ended the interview with. The spirit of the Honorable Marcus Garvey is living through you. Up you might break, you may accomplish that which you will. So you're doing it. And that's the Kwanzaa principle, Ujima, collective economics. You're working it. So we appreciate you. And you're definitely a breath of fresh air in this polluted environment. And I hope we get justice in this trial as a Black man.
Yes, sir. Sir. Leave your contact information with Michael, and I will call you, okay?
All right, thank you. God bless.
Oh, you're quite welcome. All right. Now, see, this is living out the principles of Kwanzaa, right? It's collective economics. It's, faith. It's, loving on one another. It's everything. And I'm hoping that, and so for me, it's not just okay to talk about it. It's okay, we need to be about it, right? You'd never hear me out here talking about, well, what's in it for me? Because I don't want anything from anybody. All I really, truly want is to give our people a leg up emotionally, spiritually, and financially. Our businesses are suffering, and so this was the best news I could have gotten today. I am just super stoked. And the other thing that's making me super happy is people are now asking if they can join me on my walk or go with us. Well, they're not coming out on the bicycle rides because we're out there. We're just riding. But also when I talk about the different doctors that I go to visit, you all are calling and saying, I need the number for that doctor. People are going to take their colonoscopy appointments now. Wherever you go, get the fit kit. And through WURD radio. If you don't want to go get a colonoscopy, go do it. The Colorectal Alliance with Independence Blue Cross Blue Shield and WURD radio and a bunch of other groups, Penn, go ask for it and put your stool in. Literally, that's all you have to do is go to the bathroom, get a little bit of your stool in. If you can't handle your own stool, I don't know what to tell you. Cover back the kit and send it back in. They give you all the instructions for what you need to do. And let me tell you why this is important. Colorectal cancer does not have to be a death sentence. If they find something in your stool, they'll have you come in, do a colonoscopy. Sometimes it's just a little bit of a polyps that they need to remove, right? That's bleeding. Sometimes it's just a cancer that's just beginning to form, and they can cut out that part of the cancer, and you're okay. The problem comes in when we don't go get the test done, right? And we're constipated, and we're not going to the bathroom regularly, and we're not doing all the things that we're supposed to do, and then the cancer spreads, right? This is the thing. These are the things that I'm talking about. We don't always want to do it. We don't always feel like doing it. But I'm begging you, the traumas that are infecting us and are around us are enough. Go get your testing done. I had to go get a mammogram last week. I fussed and complained until I had to ask for forgiveness, right? Because, they need to come up with mammogram machines that are better at testing our tatas, right? But get testing the tatas we must do. And so when you get to a certain age, when you get to 35, there's certain tests. When you get to 40, there's certain tests. And every year, even if you don't have health insurance, find a free clinic that you can get a good physical in, right? There are doctors who are volunteering their time in these clinics to make sure that you're okay. They're out here, people. They're out here. And if you are afraid and you don't want to go, take someone with you. Does that make sense? Right? I'm so concerned. And so today, every day that I get on the air and I'm talking to all of you and I'm having these conversations, it is just to say you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. We have to take care of each other. It's a love and a smile. You're out here at the bus stop, you know, and you see somebody walking by and they're hollering on their cell phone. You know, it's trauma. What you're looking at is trauma. Instead of coming from a place of judgment and rolling your eyes, say good morning, say good afternoon. I remember one of my neighbors was coming to, that lived not far from me. He was so distressed, and a friend was trying to help him. I was in my garden and I'm planting my flowers for the spring. This was a couple of years ago. And and he was, cussing up a blue streak. So I knew what the issue was. And so I put my trowel down in the garden, and I walked out of my garden and walked over to him and I said, listen, I know you don't know me, but I heard your conversation and this is my advice for you. And he calmed right down, right? I didn't tell him stop the noise. I didn't call 911. I didn't do any of those things. I just went out and started to talk to him. He calmed right down, and his friend said, well, what the hell? I've been talking to him from 500 blocks away, and he was cussing all the way down here. You open up your mouth and he's okay. It is just about the way we approach people. Right? It's the way when we see people and we see what's going on, let's look at people from an asset model instead of a deficit model, which is why I get so annoyed when someone sees that you're doing good work, and instead of saying, thank you for doing the good work, they nitpick on the couple of things that they saw that went wrong. That is building up that is destroying someone from a deficit model. And leadership dictates that you can correct people and still find some good things to talk to them about what they're doing. And so that goes across the board, whether you are a restaurant manager at Burger King, or you are the head cleanup crew for the district where you work, or for whatever it is. Thrive. Be the person that thrives where you are, because people will notice it and take you to different places. Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know. I want you to continue to support Black Talk Media. I want you to continue to support the media outlets like the Philadelphia Sunday Sun, the Philadelphia Tribune. There are very few of them around. Let's not try to tear each other apart. There's enough for us to go around, right, to help each other. And so we talk about these things all the time. I'm not just, talking to hear myself talk. I just know what is possible. And I'm telling you, after I talked to that young man and talked him off the ledge and he calmed down, a couple days later, the friend that lives close to me says, ma'am, I'm going to make sure nobody touches your garden. I see your garden is looking really nice. Every time they pass, now, how you doing, ma'am? What's going on, ma'am? You see the difference? Had I called 911 and called the police because he was cussing up a blue streak coming down the street, it would have been a very different ending. But I came from a place of empathy and understanding. That's what I'm asking of you. I would love for us to put our judgments aside as much as possible. If people are around you not driving a BMW or a Mercedes, or they don't live in a certain place, that's none of your business. Mind your business. They're very wealthy people who are not using the latest cell phones or driving the latest cars. I'm talking worth millions of dollars, and they don't floss it on their bodies. Leave people alone and stop judging. Stop judging them, right? As this trial comes to an end and we're getting ready to have a verdict, I'm asking you to put love in action. You must. I'm begging you, put love in action. You see somebody going out to loot, try to slow them down, stop them, say, look, there's another way to do this. And, this is the way anger expresses itself. So some people are able to reason. Some people go out and do the craziest things, right? And so you want to be able to reason with someone, especially if it's a neighbor that you know, that you see going out there doing it. Just let's think of other ways of making life better for the people around us. Coming up next is Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders. I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.